Tonight's guest is bear researcher and author Stringham.
Looking back on the life that you're leaving, let it rest in a hole in the ground. Stick around for the great revealing, or the fire you've been dancing around. All we hear is the sound of retreating. No one cares where you're coming from. My ears are still ringing and bleeding. I guess we all knew from the start. These are the days my heart goes numb. You know, one of these days will be the one. Looking for answers. What a disaster. These are the days my heart goes numb. My heart goes numb. Breathing the fumes of the ashes, the spirits light up the night. Looking down the ashes.
We're live from the Untold Radio Network. It's Untold Radio AM with Monster Quest producer, host Doug Hajicek, and co-host Jeff Perrella Jr. Untold Radio AM is going live right now.
This show is for entertainment purposes only. Yep, that's the ticket. Now here are your Untold Radio AM hosts, Doug Hajicek and Jeff Perrella Jr.
And here we are. Well, here one of us is.
I'm
There he
here.
is. There he is.
I'm here. I'm
Hello, everyone.
sunburned. I'm a little sunburned.
Sunburnt. We out on the lake today.
No, out on a bike.
Oh, nice.
Part of the day. The sun is powerful today.
Yeah, I wasn't outside at all today. I've been doing housework.
Oh, yeah. No, it was nice. It's a little cooler than it was,
Yeah,
and now it's only 90.
I was out all day yesterday. It was great.
Oh man, yeah. Yesterday was good.
Yep.
Anyhow, welcome
Anyhow.
Untoldians, and welcome to UntolledRadio.com.
That's us.
Yes, and we are going to have a little different show tonight. Tonight we've got special guests just to kind of warm us up, Mark Peterson. And Mark is, he was in Monster Quest quite a bit. He's a wildlife tracker and wildlife expert and photographer. And he started a new kind of an ecotourism place
Yeah, it looks
where
awesome.
people can
Really wanna
go
there.
to his ranch and look at wildlife, observe wildlife, photography, do photography. So anyhow, so we'll have Mark on here soon. I don't think we have anybody in the back room, do we?
No, not yet.
That's an unsettling.
Maybe
That's
they'll show
always
up.
unsettling.
Yeah, we'll wing it. We'll see what
We'll wing
happens.
it. Yeah. We get stuck just with me and Jeff tonight.
Could happen. You never know.
And then we've got bear researcher, biologist, field biologist, Stephen F. Stringham, who is a grizzly expert, bear expert.
I'm calling in from
But he-
Alaska.
Yeah,
Remote Alaska.
he lives he lives in Alaska, and he's lived there since 1970.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. It's
Yeah.
a long time.
And he's got a lot of bear stories. Lots.
Love it.
Very cool.
And you're a bear expert. You know a lot
Yeah,
about bears.
I know. Yeah. Well, compared to most people, I am, yes.
Yes.
But compared to guys like Steven, I know nothing.
You're a rookie. Yeah.
I'm a
No
rookie.
more than me.
But yeah, I've done my share of
You
things
sure have.
and efforts in bear research, and I love black bears. I haven't done any grizzly work. And grizzlies,
So different. Black bears and grizzlies are like, they're so different.
look,
It's crazy.
it's just the size is so intimidating.
Yeah.
You know, a black bear, kind of like, you want to take me on? Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Grizzly is like, no, I'm just puppy chow for a grizzly.
And their personalities are polar opposite.
Well, we'll find out tonight. Maybe they're not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I get a lot of questions for Stephen. But if you're a researcher, you're out in the woods a lot, you're going to run into bears.
For sure.
So you will learn a lot in this show. That's guaranteed.
Have you ever run into a grizzly in the woods, out in the bush?
No.
I mean, either.
Heck
I've seen plenty
no.
of black bears up close, but I've never seen a grizzly out in the wild. That would make me a little bit
Well,
nervous.
you can go with Stephen. He takes people on grizzly encounters.
That would be pretty cool to see.
It would be, but a little, to get your blood pressure going.
You got to respect those animals. They they're dangerous.
Yeah. Well, let me know when Mark gets in the
Yeah.
background, because we'll get him on right away.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he
What's
is.
up?
Speaking of Mark,
Yeah.
let's do our news real quick, and then we'll bring Mark on.
Okay, sounds good. Let's have some news.
It's time for weird and fast news. Yeah! It's time for weird and fast news.
First up is apparently Mars has got many giant honeycomb patterns, as this picture shows that Jeff took yesterday.
Right after that, I was out all day, then I flew up to Mars quick.
Yeah, real quick.
Came right back.
It says NASA's Curiosity rover photographed the largest field of honeycomb-like polygons ever seen on Mars. The cracks stretch across Valle Grande and measure roughly 1.5 to 3 inches wide. So I think our scaling's wrong here, Jeff.
A little bit.
A little bit. It's exaggerated,
A little bit.
as we often do. It's unverified.
Yeah, can't verify that. It's a bunch of crap.
No.
Sonic
Scientists
contest.
Scientists think repeated cycles of wetting and drying billions of years ago may have formed them, potentially preserving clues about whether ancient Mars once had conditions suitable for microscopic life.
I think that's pretty likely.
Yeah,
personal-
or they had giant bees.
Could be too.
They could be
Never
giant
know.
bees.
Can't confirm that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Never mind. I'm not going to read that shit stuff. Crap. I mean,
you wrote it.
yeah, we a quarter. All right.
Moving on.
Scientists found a 100-million-year-old crime scene in the ocean. A fossil discovered, this is interesting, a fossil discovered in Queensland contained a remarkable 3-level food chain story. Roughly a 7-meter-long Ichthyosaurus apparently swallowed a fish. It was like a squid-like animal, and then part of a flying pterosaur. Then something much larger, possibly a giant marine predator, Coronasaurus, bit into the Ichthyosaurus, shattering bones and leaving behind what researchers call a prehistoric crime scene.
Interesting.
So it's kind of like, what was that Dr. Seuss book? Horton Hears a Who?
It's one of them, yeah.
It's kind of like that.
I do not like it, Sam. I am.
No, that's a different book. That's a different book. Anyway, I do want to welcome all of our wonderful moderators in chat. We've got quite a few. And Greg and Sly Fox and Karl Sup and Elizabeth Vickers and Greg and blah. We got Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot.
They're so helpful.
Andrew
Thanks,
Gnomes.
man.
Now, who in the hell has a name this long? Andrew Gnomes Trucking Express. That's his nickname or his pseudonym on here. Hello, Andrew. I'm glad you're here. And whatever happened to Buttworm? He's been gone.
Oh, I haven't seen Buttworm in a long time.
No, where's Buttworm? All right, what do we got next? Humans. Humans were carving tiny birds 40,000 years ago. Well, at least one human was. Talk about
I'm
that
betting it's more than
unverified crap. Humans. It says archaeologists working in Germany's Hohlfels Cave uncovered 2 tiny bird figurines resembling ptarmigans. It says one appears to have its wings spread while the other rests calmly. Researchers believe this sophisticated Ice Age artwork may reveal how early humans used symbolism. It says it's teaching and shared culture while expanding across Europe. Like, what? How did they get all that from little carved birds?
Can't verify that.
You can. That's completely unverified
Completely
crap.
unverified. But it seems likely.
Oh, then I like this one. The first known squid relative was smaller than a grain of rice. There's a grain of rice.
Oh, wow.
Jeff took this picture.
Yeah. 520. I typed in my Wayback Machine.
It's the opposite of a giant squid you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
It says here, let me get this. Hold on here. I got to scroll. My scrolling ain't working too good. Fossils of a creature called Uceria suggest that the earliest known cephalopod appeared about 520 million years ago. The animal was only around 1 millimeter, but long, but already possessed a, I love this word. This is the word of the day, a sipuncle.
Mm-hmm.
A sipuncle. All right, and everybody's going, what the hell is a sipuncle? It's the internal structure that modern squid and cuttlefish and nautiluses use to help control their buoyancy. Pardon? What?
Nautili? Is the plural nautili? Nautiluses? Nautili?
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, nautili. Yeah. Nautiluses. It says nautiluses. It doesn't say nautili.
I totally made that up.
I know you did.
Completely unverified. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. But it's fun to say nautili.
So apparently the ancient ancestor of the giant squid started out almost too small to see.
Crazy.
There you go.
Really
All right,
fast.
just hang on here. We had to split our notes up today.
Page 2.
Page 2 of the notes.
As Paul Harvey
Monkeys. Listen to this. Monkeys may have invented pet keeping before humans. Researchers reviewed 427 friendly encounters involving 88 primate species and 127 other species. Monkeys and apes were documented grooming, caring, playing, and sometimes adopting animals, including dogs, deer, pigs, and on and on. Scientists believe this may reveal a deep evolutionary roots for empathy and the human desire to keep pets. Mark likes pets, don't you, Mark? In the background.
Yes.
Yeah, he loves
No,
pets.
yeah.
He's got a really big pet that we'll talk
Yeah.
about in a little bit.
Looking forward to talking to him, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a giant pet. Very smart pet. All right, next then it says tiny bubbles are louder than big bubbles, and only Jeff can confirm this. Jeff, can you confirm that?
I can't.
You can't.
Unverified.
Okay, well, it has to go unverified then. Using underwater microphones and high-speed cameras, researchers like Jeff Perrella, the big ragu here, studied the sound created when bubbles form underwater.
Yeah, that was
Now,
Friday.
this is, Jeff studied this while taking a bath, apparently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Counterintuitively, smaller bubbles can produce louder noises than larger bubbles. Jeff has confirmed this.
Yeah.
Because of physics of the rapid formation and vibration.
Sure. Why not?
Oh my God.
I can verify that you said that.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in. Remember how bad the chat got really into the weeds last
Yeah,
week?
it did.
I started it though.
It was your fault.
I think
I'll
I've
blame you.
started it again.
Probably.
Oh, God. All right. A black hole is cooking the red potato galaxy. So apparently there's a galaxy called the red potato galaxy. An astronomer studying a distant blob-shaped galaxy nicknamed the red potato discovered why it is mysteriously failing to produce many stars. What, like having babies?
Is that where Blobsquatch comes from?
I don't know.
The blob-shaped galaxy?
Blob galaxy? A supermassive black hole in a neighboring galaxy appears to be firing jet into its gas.
Gas bullets.
Oh my God, here we go again. Heating and stirring the material so it cannot cool enough to form new stars. So the red potato is about 11 billion light years away. And so somewhere deep in space, there's a black hole cooking a potato and ruining Jeff's dinner.
Serious question. Do you think anybody out in chat is having as much fun as we do when we talk about this stuff? I hope they are.
I don't.
We sure amuse ourselves.
See, there it is. Flat goes. Here we go. Here, see, hold on here. He says, I'm the only one here for the fart jokes.
Oh, I'm glad we're having fun.
Yeah. See, it's another guy here. See, Sly Fox says, Doug is the pot stirrer. And then Elizabeth says, nice shot, Jeff.
Thanks, Elizabeth. I was busy last night.
And then, let's see here. John Stewart says, it looks like a hemorrhoid letting a fire fart out. Okay.
Sure.
And he meant fire fart.
I'm sure.
All right. Next. Number 8. And this is the last one, I think. Everything alive gives off a ghostly glow. I love this one.
Mm-hmm.
I actually do. Scientists are studying extremely faint light called biophotons naturally emitted by living organisms. Sensitive cameras have photographed ghostly outlines around living mice, even though the glow is far too weak for human eyes to see right unassisted. Researchers are investigating whether these emissions could eventually help identify disease, monitor stress, or reveal previously unknown communication between cells. So every living thing glows, including Jeff's beard.
Well, and the next thing to think about is, so if we all glow, there's got to be something that can see that. Nothing
is going to glow unless something or somebody can see it.
Absolutely. So
nature doesn't do that, right?
Maybe cats can see it. Who knows? Cats are weird.
Somebody sees it. Something sees it
for sure.
So that's all I know. Weird fact of the week, quick.
Weird fact.
Since we're going to be talking a lot about bears,
right.
The Untold Radio AM Weird Fact of the Week. Hit it, Jeff.
It's now time for Untold Radio Weird Fact of the Week. That is kind of weird.
And the southernmost wild bear on Earth is the Andean bear, also called the speckled bear. Its range reaches as far south as the provinces in Salta and Jujuy in northern Argentina, around 23 degrees southern latitude, farther south than any other living bear species. It's also the only bear native to South America and has been the last surviving member of the short-faced bear family.
Did not know that.
Those were some wicked dudes, the short-faced bears.
Yeah.
Unlike the giant meat-eating bears of the Ice Age, today's Andean bear eats only mostly unverified plants, fruits, bromeliads, and cactus.
Cacti.
The pale facial markings are different on every individual, almost like a fingerprint.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did not know that. That's really cool.
So we're talking about the...
Mark's nodding his head. He knew that, obviously.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Yep.
Pretty much Mark knows everything.
Yep.
Pretty much.
He's laughing back there. Yep, he does.
Well, we'll test him on something.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring on...
How about, should we play his video quick first?
No, bring him on so I can tease him.
All right. Well, here he comes. Welcome, Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Gentlemen.
Hey.
There. Well, I guess we can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, get closer to your mic.
If I say, I can't, it's in my ear. I could talk like this.
Well, hold it by your mouth. Grab it and hold it.
I can turn him up a little bit to see if I get a little more.
Grab it and hold your mic.
It will, because then it comes out.
I can. Okay, whatever. That's the weirdest mic I've ever heard. What is your head hollow?
Why does Jeff look like Joe?
I don't know.
He thought I was Joe. Did the song?
We can't hear you, Mark. Really, serious.
Jeff, you can't hear me either?
I can hear you.
Pump it in. All right, let's try this
I'll
side.
turn his volume all the way up. Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear. Doug, can you hear me?
No.
When I
Yeah, I hear you.
okay,
Hearing every other word about, but I'll make it out. Okay, so let me introduce Mark just real quick. I've known Mark since what, the 90s or late 80s?
late 80s.
Yeah, late 80s. So we were working on some wildlife stuff back then, and we we found we had a similar sense of humor. I think that was our biggest bond. And then we had an interest in wolves and bears and, just kind of wildlife stuff. And Mark has continued on that path. We're both good friends, for instance, with Dr. Lynn Rogers. And I didn't meet Lynn through Mark, and Mark didn't meet me. We just met him on our own, doing whatever. But Mark has started a new place to stay where you can come up to his ranch. He's got a beautiful place up in, maybe you can say where it is. It's about an hour north of the Twin Cities. So it's easy to get to, and it's really a beautiful place. And he sends me the photos that he takes there like weekly, and it's crazy. Let's go ahead and play the video, Mark, because that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, go ahead and play it.
Okay, we'll do. Yeah,
There you go.
Place looks like fun.
Yeah, and I haven't been there yet, but he's offered for me to go up for free. I think. Does that offer still stand?
Bring you guys would have a blast. These cabins they're all very private. They're very cute. They're very private. That's what most people want is privacy between camp. Next thing they want is to see wildlife. If they're going to drive north of the cities, they want to see a squirrel or something. Oh gosh, I got bear, wolf, coyote, giant deer. The photographers that are coming up from the cities are having a field day up here and sitting in and shooting all this wildlife that's coming in. So it's kind of a wildlife paradise up here. And then of course there's birding. People love watching birds and shooting birds. And that one I actually took. And then I've got 2 birding stations as well where people.
See, Mark, just hang on a second. We got to get your audio figured out. We're still only hearing about every other word.
Let me take it out and see what the computer.
Yeah, I think it might be over clipping.
Yeah, sounds like it.
It's clipping off from too much volume. Talk softer, Peterson.
Oh yeah, this is my voice, and you know it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this out from.
Okay.
All right. You like that any better? Or
Yes.
Jeff, you have that echo again?
No, it's much better.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right.
We tried it earlier, but we had an echo.
Yeah, we had an echo earlier, but it's good now.
Yeah.
A what? A what, Jeff?
We had the echo earlier, but it's good now.
A what?
We had the echo earlier, but it's good now. We had the echo earlier,
Yeah, I
but
get
it's
it
good
now.
now.
You're not.
All right,
Now
all
he
right.
gets it. There we go. Now we got it. All right, good. A what? Yeah, a photographer, a landscape photographer, Minneapolis, shot this buck out there like only 2 weeks ago. and he was just thrilled. And the next morning we went out and he shot a black bear with a sow with 3 little babies. So these photographers from the cities are coming up trying this place and just going nuts.
Well, what's cool about it is Mark himself is such a wildlife nut. I mean, so you're going to go up there and you're just going to be, let's put it this way: your enthusiasm when you get up there is going to be tenfold once you meet Mark.
Yeah, I love the critters, and you know what's really unique about this, Doug, and you haven't seen it yet, but I want you to because you'll be impressed just with the structure. My whole entire property, 80 acres, is landlocked with swamp. There's literally one way onto it, and that's my driveway, and it's gated. So to get to this area where you see these little cubs, to get to that high spot, you have to take a number of elevated bridges over the swamp. Well, so the only thing that can go over the bridge is you walking or a 4-wheeler. So to get this giant privacy fence built back there so people could walk up and see the animals at any time of the day took a 4-wheeler pulling an ice fishing sled to get all the lumber, the concrete, everything. But I built 100-yard long privacy fence with blinds on the backside. And that way, even if there's bear or deer or anything feeding out there, you can walk up, jump in a blind quietly, and boom, they stay there because they can't see you coming. Yeah. Everybody told me I was nuts to build this thing back there, but it works like a charm. Yeah. I mean, I've got people, no offense to city people, but they're not exactly stalkers, you know, not a bad stalker, you know.
So this is a way an amateur can get really close to
exactly. Wildlife. Yep. Yeah. Amateurs can walk back there anytime. That'd be me and my giant horse, my pheasant hunting horse. But yeah, amateurs, like you said, good word. Amateurs can get back there. Yeah, look at how cute these cabins are.
Beautiful.
They're little tiny, but they've got full electricity. They're cute, and they're tucked away, and they're very private.
What do you charge per? Let's get this out of the way. What do you charge per night?
And I don't charge per night like motels do and everybody else. I give you a full 3 days. So most places check in at 3:00 Friday afternoon. You want to come Friday and take the day off of work, you can get here at 8:00 in the morning, have a full Friday, Saturday, Sunday, $390 for a weekend, $325 during the week.
Oh, gee.
So we give you a full 3 days. Sunday, when you want to check out, instead of 11, you could check out 5:00. We don't care.
Come and you're there, aren't you there? I mean, you're there most of the time during the summer, correct or no?
Me? Yeah. I'm gone. I've got a ranch hand that takes care of everyone.
Okay, so
she does super good. Yeah, she does super good. So, and in the fall, I'll be here.
I got
that's when I'm done doing my rounds and doing my stuff. But
and that's a good time to come too in the fall.
Fall?
It's a great time.
Gosh, yeah, you bet. Yeah, fall is super nice. Yeah, there's a full-length video on the website too.
So it's natureretreatsminnesota.com.
Yep, natureretreatsmn.com.
And Mark, tell us about you've got a lot of experience in camera traps and moose calling, in wildlife, working with bears. I mean, you've got kind of and tracking.
Yeah.
And Mark used to do, I don't know how many episodes of Monster Quest you were in, but you were in quite a few
years. Yeah, quite a few years, actually.
Yeah.
I think the only year I wasn't in was in year 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I know that, if you can come up in the fall when Mark's around, you'll have a really great time, but I'm sure, any time is a great time to get there. I've been at your ranch a few times and I was really impressed by the area. I always go, have you ever done any Bigfoot research there? And he's like, no.
He's always trying to get me to wood knock back there.
Yeah, and he's like,
I'm like, I've got so many trail cameras back there. There's nothing back there yet.
No, I agree.
I do love trail cameras, though. I am a freak for I'm so bad.
Yeah.
I'm horrible. Jeff, I'll go up 3 hours north, set a trail camera on a moose trail, and we'll be not even back yet. Should we go back up and check it? I'm so bad. I'm an addict. I'm thinking about starting therapy.
Trail cam therapy. Is there anything like new technology either coming with trail cams or anything that's a favorite brand of yours that you want to talk about?
Oh, absolutely. The best, highest resolution trail camera on the market today is Browning. Oh, we lost Doug. Sweet.
No, he's there. He's just audio.
I'm here.
You just okay. I'm not saying nothing.
Be careful what you say, Peterson.
Crap, he could still hear me. Browning Recon Force. They say 4K, but it's a full 1080 DPI. And Doug, I've sent this footage to you. And I mean, I literally get videographers and photographers arguing with me that the footage I'm getting is not trail cam. It's that good. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's crazy, isn't it, Doug? The stuff
it's amazing.
Yeah.
So is that the one right now that's your trail cam of choice?
Trail cam, Browning Recon Force. Yep,
there it is. Now, can you explain are those the passive IR sensors? The white circles?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, they are. That's the IR on it. Yep. And it's not invisible IR. They do have a special ops that's invisible IR, but it's not quite as good as nighttime. So the Recon Force gives you, so here's what I hate about trail cameras, and Doug, you'll attest to this, being the great cameraman that you are, is at night when you have nighttime footage, the blacks are kind of gray, they're speckly, they're dotted, they're just not clean.
Right.
And on these trail cams, when you get them at night, the black, Jeff, it is jet black.
Right.
Jet black, not one dot. It's like, wow, that shit is good. So
that's what
I really like about them.
Like, can you just turn the IR lights off on those and just use moonlight, for instance?
No, there's no switch for that.
There's no switch. Could you tape them off and try it sometime for me as an experiment?
Okay.
Like, there's a full moon coming, right? Okay.
I sure could. What would be the point of it?
Just to see how low light they go without the IR lights.
That's
to
an
see what kind of
concept. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Because I like the concept of, first of all, invisible IR on a camera is not invisible. There's still a little bit of a glow. It's just less.
Right.
Does it matter to the animals? Some it does, some it doesn't. Coyotes absolutely hate the IR. They will spot it and bolt every single time. Moose, they don't even acknowledge it. Deer look at it and go back to eating. Bears look at it and go back to eating. But coyotes, they look at it and they're gone, period. I mean, freaking gone, bolted. So I always like the concept of invisible IR, but it's not invisible. It's just less. So, but I got a feeling, Doug, if you're gonna lose your light, you're gonna lose your picture. But
it'd be fun just to try it to see how low. Yeah. Could you do that for me?
I'll do it right in camp. I've got here in camp. I got so much. I got everything going through camp. It's ridiculous. They love this camp. I don't know why. There's no food in it, but they just go through camp like crazy. So
probably I would take two layers of gaff tape and just cover those IR LEDs and just see what happens for one night.
That'd be. Oh, I'll leave it out for a week. I don't care.
Yeah, but during either a partial moon or a full moon.
Right. And it's going to matter, too, if you're in the woods, too, because in the woods, obviously, it's way darker.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's a cool idea. Thanks. I'll do that.
Oh, and I got a call from Karl. I can't say too much, but I got a pretty exciting call from Karl Sup yesterday. And it was real exciting. And I don't know if Karl, just stand by, Karl, tonight. We might need you. You can come on and explain what happened, what went down, but it has to do with footage.
Who's Karl?
Karl Sup is a Arizona researcher, wildlife researcher who has so much field research and we've been kind of collaborating on some things. And but anyhow, I'd love to do that. And by the way, Mark, I'd love it if you just hung out. Stephen Stringham is a friend of Lynn Rogers. Mm-hmm. He lives up in Alaska. I know you two would have a ton in common. Can you hang out or do you got to go?
No, I thought you wanted me longer than that. You mean I'm done?
No, you
No,
can
no.
stay. No, you can stay the whole
God.
night.
I was just getting a little disappointed, a little butt.
No.
All right. No, good. I'm done.
And I don't even know if Steven's available yet. But the other thing was you've had some interesting Bigfoot experience or something, unverified Bigfoot experience with rock throwing years and years ago on an island. I remember the story well. That made you go, what the hell is throwing rocks? Remember that? Unverified crap.
Unverified my butt. I don't know what else would be in the middle of the wilderness throwing rocks.
Oh, okay. Well, tell us that story quick.
Well, actually, I will. I'm going to make the story really quick, and I'm sending you something right now, Jeff.
Okay.
I can figure out where the send button is. There we go. Oh God, use mail drop. Okay, whatever. All right, real quick on the story, and then I'm going to give you a confirmation thing that's made it extra cool this year. Okay, long story short, my buddy, best friend, and I that I grew up with, we were, I don't know, mid-20s, and we went up to Northern Ontario as we do all the time, like five times a year we go up. And I found this new spot way back. We're 75 miles from the nearest town, Ignace, Ontario. That's how far we are from civilization. And then way back off, I don't know how many portages, blah, blah, blah. And we found this cute little island. And I mean, the island literally is the size of maybe my ranch house twice, like 70 by 30. So maybe twice that size. So very, very small. So, I mean, you can walk the whole thing in minutes and realize there's nothing there, not even squirrels. And we're 300 yards offshore, off the mainland. So we went out there very first night. We go out there with the boat, and I've got a very famous dog that was a tracker that could track anything.
You're talking about Sandy.
Shandy, you remember Shandy?
Oh, yeah. Shandy was insane. It's as far as her skills and her memory and the things that Shandy could do.
Yeah, you actually did a video.
I was just a really quick story about Shandy. Mark could bring Shandy to a party, introduce everybody at the party, and then an hour later go, Shandy, bring so-and-so, so-and-so. And Shandy would remember who that person was.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, the dog was just amazing. Well, by the way, my horse is the same way. My horse Dusty is world famous now.
I think his horse was reincarnated Shandy.
I totally believe it. I don't know much about reincarnation, but I'd go for that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Or it's the same exact training methods that I do.
It could be that, but man, it seems so weird.
Yeah. I mean, the souls are there in these animals. They're just amazing. So anyway,
tell your story.
Is a phenomenal tracker, phenomenal bird dog. And we get on this island, my best friend and I, and we're sitting around the fire at night, and the very first night, and the fire is aimed. It's on the side of the island that the mainland can see, and all of a sudden we hear this rock splash, and it sounds like, I mean, you can kind of tell. It sounds like about the size of a volleyball, and it goes splash, clunk, 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 clunk. You can hear it rolling down because an island is just a big tapered rock, basically with trees on it, up in Canada. So we hear this, and I'm going to shorten this story and get rid of all the drama. But this took about 10 minutes. 5 big rocks, and did this. And my buddy and I got up, and we finally realized it wasn't each other doing it. We thought it was each other doing it. And finally, when we were looking at each other, like faced eye to eye, looking at each other, and it still happened, we're like, okay, this is weird. Went over there. The dog, I told Shandy to track, and he tracked, laid down flat, wouldn't move. 10 minutes later, when we were back to the fire, he wouldn't come to me. He would not come. He would not move. I had to go get him. He was frozen. Got back to the fire, and after a while, he was fine. So this happened that night. We're freaking out. Don't know what the heck's going on. But whatever. We're big guys. We got shotguns because we're gross, and we don't care. So years go on, and I've always thought about this. Well, as I got involved with Doug and doing a number of Sasquatch, Bigfoot-related shows, things like that, he would utilize my wildlife skills to look at sign, to look at tracks, to look at audio, analyze audio. He would send me stuff. We started getting involved with that. I started learning that throwing rocks, sticks, types things is a trait of Sasquatch. people watching, people TV, if you will. So that kind of made sense of it. It's like, wow, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. And it makes sense that the dog froze up too, because a lot of times when dogs encounter Sasquatch or Bigfoot, that they freeze up. And you guys, am I still there?
Yeah.
I only got me, so
No, you're not there.
No,
Okay,
we're
Sorry,
featuring
Mark,
you.
you're not there.
I know.
Goodbye.
I can have a phone call, and we'd get disconnected, and 25 minutes later, somebody calls me back going, dude, where'd you go? I'm still talking.
No,
So,
you're
I'm
still here.
talking.
So, okay,
anyway,
but so Shandy was frozen, didn't do a thing.
Yeah.
That's not like her.
He wouldn't come to me. He wouldn't come to me, Doug. I was screaming at him. He would not come to me. I mean, he was literally frozen to the ground. So, and that's like super rare. I just whisper anything to Shandy and it's done. Doug actually did a full-length bird hunting video on Shandy and myself, bow hunting grouse. And so he knows the dog very well. So anyway, many years go by. I've always known about this. I've always thought about this. But a couple of years ago, I got in contact with my best friend again, Ron. And I asked him after we got, reacquainted, so to speak. I said, Ron, you remember that night in Canada? He immediately said to me, Mark, I don't ever want to think about that night again. I said, really? So long story short, we talked about it, and he has the same, and he is not a believer in Bigfoot at all. He could give two craps about the concept of Bigfoot, doesn't know anything about it, literally doesn't know anything about it other than the average person. Yeah, Bigfoot's a Bigfoot. Could care less about Bigfoot. And he told me word for word what I just told you happened. He told to me. And he said, all these years it has bothered me that this thing happened. He said, I'll tell you what, Mark, I don't know anything about anything, but I know one thing. Something threw giant rocks at us that night on that island. Something threw rocks. And when he said that, I just got chills, because it's like, okay, not meteors, not pine cone. I mean, something threw. And I said, how big were the rocks, Ron? He goes, about that big. Wow. And I'm like, holy crap. So all these years I've thought about this. He's got the same recollection, because you know how your mind, after years of thinking about stuff, well, Doug, you forget most everything, but after years of thinking about it, it changes, and I'm thinking, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't a big deal. But when Ron told me the same exact thing 40 years later, I'm like, oh my God, that's Bigfoot. I mean, and I'm not the guy that says anything's Bigfoot. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to argue with all this hardcore evidence, like through Doug. I've gotten to interview and spend time with incredible human beings like John Mainzinski, like literally my hero. He puts the concept of Grizzly Adams to shame. And John Mainzinski does. And to listen to his story is like face to face. It's like, oh my God. And then Alton Higgins, another wildlife biologist out of Oklahoma, the state biologist, to listen to him eye to eye. And it's like, and he saw it walking across a road with no obstructions. It's like, how do you argue that? So now this happens to me, and it got confirmed just this last year, Doug, which I don't know that I told you that, which is truly amazing to me. But anyway, that was one of my three stories.
Yeah, isn't John like the most amazing man you could ever meet in your life?
I'll give you the cool side. I'll give you a really quick overview of the cool side of John. If you're into wildlife or wilderness hiking, John used to get paid. He's a bighorn sheep biologist. So he studied in the Wind River Mountain Range for 40 years, studied bighorn sheep. So out in the wild his whole life. But he's so good at tracking and wildlife that the FBI would call him if there was like a serial murderer or rapist got loose and they went in the Wind River Mountain Range. John's job was to go track them down, not get them because he's not law enforcement, just track them down and direct them out of the woods and then radio ahead to where the guy is going. Or here's my favorite job that the Game and Fish would call and give him is, we had a report from a rancher. There's a very aggressive killer grizzly out there. We'd like you to go test the aggressiveness of this grizzly. Test the aggressiveness of the grizzly. So here's John with his little 357, pew, 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 and bear spray and his little dog. and they go out in the woods, track down this freaking grizzly, and walk up to it to see how mean it is and aggressive.
Man.
And he says, "Yeah, I've been."
Yeah.
I said, "You ever been put up trees?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I've been put up trees by grizzlies, let's say 10 times, and put up trees by moose 13 times, and 4 times they took my boot off while I was in the tree." He goes on and on with it. I'm like,
Wow.
"Oh my God, this guy is it."
Man.
I mean, I was fortunate enough to ride my 2 horses. I've got 2 horses, 2 phenomenal horses, Dusty and Daisy. I was fortunate enough to ride with him with Doug for a week out in Washington, and I spent a week in the backcountry with
That
this
was
guy.
on the Suettle River.
Gigano, the
Right. Mark was in Giganto, the real King Kong.
Yeah,
He had a
and just
big role in that.
to spend time with that gentleman, oh my goodness. He's a living legend to me. If you're into
I
wildlife,
could bring a
that's it.
bug to John, just any bug,
I know.
some weird bug, and I'd show it to him. And he goes, "Yeah, those are edible. Oh, they're really blah 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 blah," and he would know all about them.
I think he said everything is edible.
Well-
He told everything I saw was edible.
Oh, that's
what he
true.
told me.
That's
Yeah, and I go, "What kind of tree?" He goes, "What kind? Oh, that's a cool bird." I go, "What kind is it, John?" He goes, "That's a TB." I go, "A what? A TB?" Oh, okay. So we're driving along and riding along. I go, "What does TB stand for?" He goes, "Tweety bird."
Well, if you can see Giganto, the real King Kong, I think it's on YouTube. You're gonna have to look it up. It was basically the pilot for Monster Quest, basically.
Yeah, great
And-
show.
yeah,
Incredible show.
It
Yeah.
was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
That was.
I was really good in it.
You were really good in it, Mark.
Thank you, Doug. You
Well,
were good in it too,
the
Doug.
concept of going, okay, one of the concepts of that show was putting Mark and Rick Knoll on your horses, as I remember, Daisy and Dusty, correct?
Yeah.
It was your
Yep.
2 horses.
Oh yeah.
Onto an area where a bridge had collapsed, got washed out, and there was a road closed. And the idea is that animals will use an abandoned road as a travel way. And so these guys were the first guys to go over on this abandoned road for how many years it had been abandoned.
Yeah. How do we get to the abandoned road, Doug?
Yeah, we had to cross this dangerous river.
Raging
Raging
river.
river. Yeah, so it was
Raging with 2 mountain bikes. No, well, my job was to get the mountain bikes across the river so that your guys could go down the road.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And that was my job. So, of course, the time of year, Jeff, it was a raging river, seriously horrible raging river. And it was scary. I went across first with Dusty only because I know I could just say spin and he'll spin and get out of anything. So I tested it first, found a travel route through all the boulders and the rapids, and
Yeah.
it's pushing us down the river. And then we had to put 2 mountain bikes strapped on Daisy.
Yeah.
So I had to go across, swim the river with her, okay, and then undo the bikes and then bring the people across. That was the deal, to bring your people across.
Yeah.
You remember the famous line that came out of that movie, Doug?
Yeah, one false move would do
Well,
whatever.
one misstep.
One misstep.
Yeah, that's what Daisy going through with.
That
2
was
big
Ed
mountain
Herman,
bikes and
the
a
actor
tinker
who
on top.
voiced that. Yeah, and he
One misstep could ruin the expedition.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
It
well,
was
we had a
good.
lot of missteps, but we still made it. Yeah, that was crazy. That was a
Yeah.
good show. Good,
I
good
remember
producing
the
job.
late Ed Herman. He was the actor in Richie Rich. He played the dad, and he was the one that did the voice narration for Giganto.
Oh, really? That's who
Yeah,
that was?
yeah,
He was,
yeah. He was
whoever
in the
it was
Richie
really
Rich.
good. That was
Ed Herman is he's in a ton. I think he's in Pretty Woman. He's in a bunch of movies. But it was fun working with him, and he did a great job. And the world will miss his acting and his narrating because he did.
Yeah, he has a heck of a voice.
Yeah, he really did.
Yeah, that's a good show.
So okay. So do we need? What time is it, Jeff? Are we ready to bring Stephen on?
Yeah, you know what though? Before we do that, let me play. I just got this video that Mark sent. Let me play this real quick.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is just look at the clarity in this. This is this camera. I just sent you this clip.
Oh wow, that's really.
Wait till this
footage.
bear gets right on top of you. It's just this. The clarity in these videos is ridiculous.
Wow.
Oh, and by the way, the audio. Oh no, I sent you the wrong one.
Is that the wrong one? Oh.
I'm sorry. I
All
said
right.
it's okay.
Cool video.
I thought this was the bear that comes up to the camera and you can count eyebrows and the specks in the pupil. I mean, it's
I
so
can
crystal
tell
clear.
it's actually on the stream, doesn't do it justice. I'm looking at it on my computer, the direct
Yeah.
file. The
Yeah.
resolution is spectacular.
It
It's
is.
really
And
good.
the audio on these things, Doug, I've got Bobcat walking across a snowpack and you can hear it's just ridiculous.
Very cool.
It's
I'm
so
gonna back out for a second, and I'm gonna get Steven on the line. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll me and Mark will chat until
Keep
then.
chatting.
not hard.
Somebody asked whether we had any activity on that Seattle expedition, and I can't remember. I don't think
Which
we did.
expedition?
The Seattle one, the one for Giganto.
Oh,
when we
Washington.
camped out.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't think anything happened. Did it?
Well, I do know one thing that happened, but it wasn't so much Bigfoot related. Zinski and I were in the backcountry, and you told me go collect footage, so we did, and we were riding and across that river, and John and I, all of a sudden, a lion, and I'm sure the lion thought the horse was an elk because there's a lot of elk out there.
Yeah.
So we're riding, and all of a sudden, this lion jumps right down in front of us, and I mean it's 30 feet away, 10 yards. 10 yards away. Any bow hunter knows what that is. 10 yards away. And it's crouched down, coming right at us. And I just told Dusty, because Dusty's trained a bit different, I said, get him. Dusty pinned his ears back and he tore ass after that cat on the trail.
Yeah.
And he freaking just tore ass, and we're on and this cat's eyes got bigger than they normally were, just huge. It turned around and booked down the trail, and Dusty is right on this thing's tail. I mean, a lion's got a long tail, probably a 4 foot, 5 foot tail. And Dusty's literally reaching for the tail in front of him. And the cat realizes we're right on top of him. And now it turns into afterburners. Well, so does Dusty. But this trail is not a trail. It's a small, old, overgrown dirt road. But it looks more like an overgrown dirt road. You could probably drive a truck down it, but that's it. I mean, it's pretty small. But we're just booking ass after this cat. And finally, the thing has had enough, and it goes off into the woods. Well, here comes John on Daisy, cantering up behind, and he is literally crying, laughing. He goes, I have never in my life seen anybody say, get him to a horse, and it go after a mountain lion. Because a mountain lion is a primeval fear of every horse.
Yeah.
It's about the only thing that does attack horses. Bears don't attack horses, but lions do.
Yeah.
So that actually happened to us twice. So it was pretty fun doing it. And we caught a tiny bit of it on that lipstick can you put, but back then that technology wasn't all that good. So it didn't work that well. But so that happened. That was pretty cool. But
that was the trip, I believe. We had Vladimir climb trees, and we had him hang. I think they were like barbed wire hair snags off trees.
Oh yeah.
God, we did a lot of weird stuff, and then we had people up on hills glassing from far, far away, with thermal cameras and stuff. So there was a lot of effort put in. That was, but something like that we would have needed to be. I think if we would have been out there a month, we could have got something.
Oh, absolutely.
Great area.
And John's out there too, and he has a lot of weird things go on out there. John, this is cool. I'm going to send you something too.
I think we have Steven, right?
I do, yeah. Hopefully he can hear you. We're doing something a little bit different here. I got him on my phone. Steven, can you hear us?
John, what the heck's his name? Pickering.
Yeah, hang on one second, Mark.
Yep.
We're doing a test. Steven doesn't have any internet up where he is up in Alaska. So we're trying to patch him in.
All right. Let me move my microphone closer to my phone here.
Hang on. Just let Jeff set it up.
Yeah, how's that? Okay, Steven, you there?
Yeah.
All right, Doug, can you hear him?
I can get barely.
Okay, I got it up as loud as I can here. Let me move my mic.
You're going to have to get it closer to your mic.
Yeah, I've got it mixed up. All right, try now.
What we're doing, Mark, is equivalent to tin cans on strings.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay,
Steven, you there still?
I still like that game.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear Doug? Can you hear Steven?
Steven.
Yes, I can hear Doug.
There we go. It's a little bit better now. We got to make sure the audience can people in the audience let us know they can hear Steven okay. And we'll begin.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
All right, just hang on here. I got to get something open here too. Oh man. Okay, hold on. There we go.
Say another one, Jeff.
Okay, I am ready. I'll get it ready.
All right, almost ready here on my end.
Can I fill up my coffee while you're playing around?
Yes, you sure can, Mark.
Yeah.
So, Steven, I don't know. I hope you can hear me okay. Mark is also a friend of Dr. Lynn Rogers and has been probably about the same amount of time I've known him. So Mark was joining and telling us some stories. But anyhow, how in the world, Steven, did you come to live in Alaska, if you can tell us in a somewhat of a short way, because I know you've been there since 1970. Just give us a little background on your journey.
Yeah, I'm back in the late 1960s. I was in oceanography, getting a degree at Humboldt State University in Northern California. About the time I graduated, I spent the summer as a roommate to a guy who was working on his master's degree studying black bears. And I became his grunt, and we went out trying to catch bears with barrel traps. And we didn't do too well with that, but I began to learn about bears and what bear scat looked like and something about tracking them. And I thought, well, there isn't much meat out here in the forest. What are bears going to eat besides plants? Because I knew they like to eat meat, so I thought, well, there's not much meat here in the forest, but down here a couple of miles away on the seashore, there's lots of meat. Sea urchin, clams, all sorts of things. So I went down there looking, and sure enough, I found bear scat down
Why can everybody else hear them when I can't?
Put your earphone in, Mark. Put your earphone
Anyway,
in.
the bears were too shy to come out during the day because people would shoot them. They had to cross Highway 1 to get there. And I was talking to the major professor of my roommate about this, and he said, well, Steve, you want to study bears in the seashore, go to Alaska. So I did.
Okay, so obviously let's flash forward to today. You're working mainly with Grizzlies. How did you bridge from just getting to Alaska to working with grizzly bears and doing all this amazing research on basically living safely with grizzlies?
Well, back in 1966, turning the clock back again, I was in the Brederett Mountains on Montana-Idaho border. I was out hiking one night, got out too long, got stalked by a grizzly bear, and finally got back to camp safely without getting eaten, much to my surprise. Along the way, I did a lot of praying and said, well, bear didn't eat me, I tried to be nice to bears. So one thing led to another, and I started studying bears and found them incredibly fascinating creatures. And because I was up in Alaska along salmon streams, where the bears are well fed, in the national park where they weren't hunted, they were pretty trusting in me and not aggressive. And I had a lot of hairy experiences, but I managed to survive them. No bears got hurt. And I just began trying to understand why people got hurt in other situations and why they weren't getting hurt in this situation. So I just began to try to understand what made the difference between bears that want to chew you up and bears that don't. Bears that are willing to live and let live.
Oh, Doug, I think you're muted.
Did I lose you?
No,
No,
you're still
I'm
Doug.
here. I'm here.
Yeah,
It's
I got
just,
his mic muted.
sorry. So how well do you think bears, just on seeing like a human for the first time and having one interaction, do you think they remember like a good interaction or a bad interaction if it only happens one time? Because I'm sure you've run into the same grizzlies over and over. Do you think that has any effect on how they behave?
Sure. They're probably as smart as a chimpanzee, is nearly as we can tell. And
Okay.
they probably got extraordinarily good memories. Certainly, their ability to remember where all sorts of foods can be found in all sorts of seasons, good years, bad years, etc. They're darn good at it. They develop a lot of complex skills for catching prey and getting other food. And yeah, I imagine they've got very good memories. I've had bears that knew me individually, unquestionably about that, as well as bears that didn't seem to care less who was who.
Yeah. So do you practice like certain postures, Steve, when you're out with grizzlies? Is there certain things that you do to communicate that you're not a threat? Those are the things I always wonder about, because when I watch videos like on YouTube, like even at Katmai, it seems like there's I don't see any consistency. Some people crouch down, some people stand straight, some people don't look at the bears in the eyes. Can you kind of run down some general rules to get people interested in this topic?
Well, I've written a number of books about how to deal with bears on one-on-one. So if somebody wants the textbook, it's called When Bears Whisper, Do You Listen? Or Alaska Magna Bear Safety Manual. They're on Amazon.
Right.
But to give you the long and the short of it here, when I started out at Katmai, I did the first study there in 1972, then wasn't able to get back until 98. But anyway, when I was out there just after the oil spill had brought a lot of oil up onto the shore of Katmai, I started doing studies. The bears weren't very used to people, and they were very reactive according to how you behaved. And you could look at them, and that could have an effect on them. As the years have gone by, they've had exposure to thousands and thousands of people who did all sorts of things. They've pretty well learned to ignore most of it.
Do you feel that they ever test you, Stephen? Like they test your confidence, your emotional state, or do you feel that?
Well,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Most of the bears are just want to live their lives and put up with us.
Yeah.
But occasionally you'll have a situation, especially with a young bear, that's learning its place in the hierarchy, or learning how to deal with people. They'll test you at times. You hear about bluff charges, which in reality aren't bluffs, they're test charges. The animal's trying to see whether it can scare you away. And if it finds it can't, sometimes it thinks, I overstepped that bounds on that one. But mostly they're chickening out, trying to figure out what their relationship view is going to be. But the fact that an animal tests you doesn't mean it wants to chew on you, but it does want to know whether you're a danger to it, and it wants to know whether it can shoo you away if it wants to.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think they sense fear? Okay, how about illness? Do you think a bear is capable of sensing illness? Do you think a person who's limping has a better chance of not getting along with a bear, becoming, having a bear become a predator with, a person who's elderly and limping and sick? Or do you think that doesn't matter?
Well, if that was the case, they would have had me for lunch this last summer when I was out. I was kind of limping along. But anyway, the problems you're describing are if a bear is predatory. Now, you can say a bear is predatory all the time because it'll eat a fish if it gets a chance to. It'll eat other prey. But we're talking about whether they look at people as prey. Very, very few bears do, and very few bears look at each other as prey, but it happens. So if you are out there and a bear is looking at you as prey, yeah, it might pay attention to anything that indicates that you're not very able to defend yourself, whether it's like you're saying you're a little ill or you're limping, or it's a night where you can't see as well as they can. You know, any animal that's being predatory looks for weakness. And bears themselves, when they get hurt, they don't demonstrate that they're in pain, etc. much because they don't want to reveal weakness. And when I'm out with bears, mainly what I'm trying to do is to set them at ease. And we talk about what sets a bear at ease. Well, if a bear starts getting upset, I do not stare at it. That's an absolute no-no, because the bear thinks you want to interact with it if you stare at it. Doesn't necessarily mean you're aggressive, like you're going to attack, but it does mean you want to interact with it, and it's going to say why, because there's going to be a problem. Normally I don't stare at a bear. If it's getting all upset like that, I'll look off to the side. Sometimes when I'm out, I'll kind of do what Diane Fossey did working with gorillas. A bear's up there looking at me trying to figure out what I'm up to. I'll turn to some vegetation and pretend I'm eating the vegetation. Just something they can categorize what you're up to. That it's not about them. Now, once the bears have gotten really used to being watched, then it doesn't matter to them. They've learned that, no, these people are just very rude. They stick these giant glass eyes at me, and they look at me with their little beady eyes, but they're not going to do anything. So, like I say, they get used to that. But when I'm on a trail, I'm with bears that don't know people too well. I see a bear, I may glance at the bear, but I glance down to the side, break eye contact, look down to the side. And all that's communicating to the bear, well, I know you're there. You know I'm here, but I don't want to interact with you. But on the other hand, when you're out with a bear, you have to be paying attention to it doing the same thing to you. Here's a little example. I was sitting on the shore at Katmai National Park, breakers coming into the ocean, and there was a new ranger in the park. She'd come up from Canyonlands and was brand new to bears and to Alaska. And she came out and we were chatting, sitting on a log, and this is the mean high tide line is the border between the park and state land. And for my luck, fortunately, we were down on the state land. And we watching a bear out there, brown bear, and all of a sudden it turns and comes at us at a dead run. And she was reaching for her gun, trying to pull it out to protect us. And I grabbed her hand and held it and won't let her pull the gun out. And she's screaming at me to let go, and the bear goes by, about an arm length away from me, and back up behind us over the berm, back to the meadow behind us. She said, "You didn't know it was going to do that." I said, "I knew exactly what it was going to do." "Well, how the hell could you know that?" "Well, very simple." I said, there were two bears out there, brothers. They're normally together. If you've been paying attention, you would have known that one of the brothers went by about 5 minutes ago. And it went up past us, went back to the berm there, and then over to the river. And if you paid attention, you would have known that just about 30 seconds before this bear started running, the gulls started screeching, which meant that the bear back there, or one of the bears, had caught salmon and had salmon scraps out there. And the gulls were fighting over it. This bear here heard that, and he took off running. Oh, she said, "Well, bullshit. Wouldn't have known what it was doing." I said, "Sure. If you'd watched the tides, you would have seen that it was looking away from us. It did not look straight at us. It was looking off to the side. So I knew exactly where I was going because the bear was very eloquent in telling me exactly where I was going." And I said, I've had many, many experiences like that. If a bear's not upset, if the bear's trusting you, it will try to communicate with you. That's why that book of mine is called When Bears Whisper, Do You Listen? Because it's about subtle cues that bears give you about what they're trying to communicate. Now, I've got a lot more of that coming in at the new book eventually called The Language of Bears. But there are a lot of clues in there and a lot of techniques for dealing with a wide variety of situations so you don't run into trouble.
Weird. Have you ever found there's a difference between a female personality without cubs, a female without cubs, and a male bear? Are they completely different? Do you have to act different around the different sexes?
I think bears are roughly as individualistic as people. I mean, I don't have any measure of it, though. Bob and Joanna Fagan, about 1966, did a study on bear personalities, but I don't remember any details. But certainly they have consistent traits. They're very individualistic. And I can't say I've ever discovered any male versus female traits. But that said, when a female has cubs, she does act differently. And when the male gets to be a big bruiser, he acts differently. These big males, some become very despotic. They will go around and just dominate other bears more or less for the sake of dominating. There doesn't have to be salmon or anything else at stake. What they're doing is exerting dominance and maintaining their position at the top of the hierarchy. Where the female, on the other hand, is out protecting her cubs, and how she behaves depends on how old those cubs are.
Interesting. So do you find, though, male grizzlies more predictable, Steve, than females with cubs? Or is that just too simple?
I guess you'd say it's too simple. I haven't seen much difference in predictability, but I'll say this, that we have this image that a mother grizzly with cubs is the most dangerous bear out there.
Right.
And the reality is that a mother with cubs is the most scared bear out there. So their danger comes from being frightened. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people have the misconception that to keep a bear safe, you got to keep it scared of you. And so when they see a bear, they try to scare it away. Well, the mother with cubs, that couldn't be the worst thing to do than trying to scare her away. Sometimes they run towards you, sometimes they run away from you. But I've had mothers with cubs that'll come down and lay 10 feet away from me to sleep, nurse their cubs. This happens at other places too. When I was getting started, I was one of the few people that it happened to, but now I guess hundreds or thousands of people have had experiences like that. They want safety, and where are they going to find safety? Well, they know other bears tend to avoid people, so they come close to you for some kind of protection. I mean, there's not anything I can do to protect mother with cubs from another bear except to alert them that something's happening. And I think that's what they count on, is that maybe I will react and they'll detect that. Because sometimes when they lay down, they don't lay down facing me, they lay down facing away with their back to me. In one case, the cub laid between us. And they slept for an hour or so, and then the cub laid on its back and kind of stretched and looked at me laying on its back upside down and tried to get me to play with it. Now, I've raised orphan cubs, and I know what being a bear's chew toy feels like. And it was bad enough with 25-pound black bear cubs, but with a 100-pound grizzly cub, no thanks.
Does a grizzly, okay, let's just say you're walking on a trail. Is a grizzly going to act or be shyer and more apt to leave if somebody's alone or in a group? Doesn't it matter? Have you noticed any difference, Stephen?
Group size has a huge effect.
Okay.
And it's not just the size of the group. It's whether they're more or less standing still, how close they are to each other. If you come across a bear on a trail, grizzly or a black bear, usually the best thing to do is get off the trail and let the bear pass. Don't make a contest out of it.
So step off trail for sure.
Yeah, I usually step off the trail. Usually that works, and they just go on their way. But it varies. One time I was walking along the beach at Katmai, and there's the big embankment to the side of me where I couldn't climb off the beach. It was a narrow beach because the tide was high. And mother grizzly with two cubs is following me. She's maybe 20 feet behind me. She keeps following me and following me and following me. In this situation, most people would get really freaked out. But I'd had a little bit of experience with this, so I kept going until I found a place to get off the trail. As soon as I got off the trail, she speeded up like somebody who'd been following a slowpoke in the fast lane on a highway. She about tripled her speed, and off they went. So far from stalking me or far from being pushy, she's been extremely polite, waiting for me to finally have respond in kind and be polite enough to get out of her way.
Interesting. So, with all of the, I mean, there's so many myths, and we'll talk about some of the ones you know. But is there one particular one that just keeps getting repeated over and over and drives you up a wall, Stephen?
Yeah. Number one is the belief that a, quote, habituated bear is a dangerous bear.
Okay.
Now, the problem is people misunderstand what that means, and rather than get very technical, I'm just going to put it this way. Let's think of habituation as being a combination of two things. Your distance from the bear and what you're doing that affects the bear. So if you act belligerent, it's going to react differently than if you're acting calm. But distance is a big factor in that. And the bears basically respond if they're being, I guess you'd say, well, if you're talking about a bear being fearful, people think that fear is an all or nothing thing. A bear fears you or it doesn't fear you, or it's a matter of degree, but that's not quite true. Bears they're afraid that you would attack them without provocation, and we can call that distrust. And they're afraid if they provoke you, you're going to retaliate, and that's called respect. The fear of retaliation is respect, and fear of getting attacked is distrust. And the safest bears are those that both trust and respect you. But unfortunately, most people don't make that distinction. So they think that if a bear doesn't fear you, it's a dangerous bear, when in fact, if a bear doesn't respect you, it can be dangerous. But boy, you don't want them to fear you're going to attack it, because otherwise then they get defensive. And sometimes they attack when they're defensive. Most people getting injured by a bear that's being defensive, not by a bear that's being bullying or much less predatory. So I have different terminology that I use to explain all this, but simple fact is keep the bear's trust, keep the bear's respect. You don't need to bully the bear to keep its respect. Mainly you just stay confident. I've never had to bully a bear to get it to respect me. Mainly I just being confident and polite was all it took, because if you don't make a contest out of it, you don't run into problems. And I'm going to give you a simple analogy. Think of a policeman, your town cop. You need to be able to respect him, treat him with respect, but you don't want him to be like a thug who's just going to beat you up when he wants to. So that's the way I deal with bears. They maintain their respect and their trust, and we get along really well, and I think most people can. Where you run into problems is if you have food they want, or if you start trying to bully them. Those are the two biggest factors that get people into trouble.
Also, okay, so here's a question too I often wonder. So can one aggressive encounter permanently change like a bear's behavior if he has like some aggressive encounter, either he's done onto humans or humans have done onto him? Is that going to change everything permanently? Does that become a problem bear? Just because he was behaved bad once, is he going to behave bad again? What are your...
I don't have any specific information on that to judge by. I'll say this: I've seen that sort of thing with dogs, and the bear is as smart as a dog, so I would suspect that a bear is going to remember what happened. And with most animals, once you've scared them badly, they stay scared. And it's very hard to win their trust once you've really scared them. Now, it's easier with a bear or a moose because they're big and strong, but you try it with a small animal, they don't dare. So the answer I can give you is that I expect a bear is going to be affected by its past experiences, but it's normally not a dramatic change in their behavior on a single incident.
What was there one encounter, Stephen, that caused you to have the greatest respect and not fear for a grizzly? I mean, was there one kind of an encounter that just kind of flipped a switch with you?
Well, back in 1972 at Katmai, this is when Katmai had very few visitors. It wasn't a national park then, it was a national monument. I was in August when there weren't a lot of people, so a lot of times I had Brooks Falls myself, walking up and down Brooks River. I didn't meet many other people, but I did meet a lot of bears. And Jim Farrow, who I'd met when he was a fellow student at Humboldt University, was the area biologist for Alaska Fish and Game at the time, and he gave me some instructions about dealing with bears. And so one day when I'm walking along the trail, this big male comes walking towards me. And so I get off the trail, and he turns and follows me. So I keep moving back, and he keeps following. So I'd gone maybe 20 feet, and he was still coming at me. And I thought, oh, well, no point in going any further. He can walk faster than I could run. So I stood there quietly, and he walks up to the front of me and sniffs my body and sniffs my face and walks around behind me, and he touches his nose to my left knee, the back of the knee, and I just kept waiting for him to bite in. He didn't, and then the next thing I know, I feel the wind of his breath on the nape of my neck as the hairs are fluttering. I'm thinking, oh God, oh God, oh God. And he turned and walked away, curiosity satisfied. And that certainly dramatically changed my idea on the aggressiveness of bears. And all that time I was there at Katmai that summer, I kept running into bears, none of whom were aggressive, all of whom were willing to live and let live. But you get next to an 800 or 1,000 pound or 1,200 pound animal, it does give you pause.
Stephen, I've got a question I've wondered about
Give me
for
more
years.
Than pause.
What, Mark? Mark? I don't know what's going on here. Everything's crazy. I've had this question for years and years, Stephen. I've been to the Arctic many times, and sometimes I'll go up to like the Coppermine River area in Northwest Territories, and apparently there's what they call barren ground grizzlies. I never saw one, but boy, the camp owners were always really paranoid. They would say, take a rifle with you. If you're going for a little hike, take a rifle. They'd get really freaked out, and I would just wander off, and I didn't want to carry a rifle. But I was told there's barren ground grizzlies. They'll make a beeline for you, and they'll be predatory. Do you know anything about what they were talking about?
I don't have any experience with those bears. I can only go what I've read about. And I've had friends who've hiked up there. Some carried a gun and some didn't. Not just in Northwest Territories, but Yukon and Northern Alaska. And most of them tell me that the bears didn't want any part of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes the bear will come running up to you to see what you are. And, you'll often hear in bear safety advice, if a bear's there, raise your arms over your head and, move, shake them around, let the bear know you're human. Well, the natives up there got a laugh out of that because they'd say, well, when you do that, they think you're a caribou. That's how we attract bears to come close so we can shoot them.
Okay.
So, your arms up there from the bear standpoint, it looks like their antlers sticking up. Now, the inland grizzlies have a very poor food supply in general. It's widespread. And so they don't want to share their home range with other bears. They want it all to themselves. On the coast where there are lots of salmon, or on rivers like the Yukon that go deep inland, so there's salmon getting 1,000 miles inland. Well, those bears have enough food that they don't need to be that pushy towards each other. They're much more tolerant of each other, and that carries over to help them be more tolerant towards people. So if you go up to the end of the Yukon. I forget the name of the native area up there, but they have bear viewing up there, far, far inland. And I think those would qualify as bearing ground grizzlies, but they're ones that are coming in and getting salmon, and they're quite comfortable around people there. In the old days in Yellowstone National Park, when bears fed at the dumps, and you had people sitting in the bleachers watching them, bears weren't going up and attacking the people. And the main problems arose when they closed the garbage dumps, so the bears had to go into the campgrounds to get garbage. Now, I think some bears, even when the dumps were open, went into campgrounds, but it's hard to say because the Park Service is not exactly open with their information on this. They had their idea what the story was, and they made sure that was the only version that got out. But running a bureaucracy and trying to keep millions of people safe isn't easy. So they took what they thought was the best solution, even if from my standpoint as a researcher, I would have liked a lot more candid information.
Interesting. So what is a bearing ground grizzly? Can you explain that?
It's just a bear that lives up there where they're beyond the tree line.
Okay.
What they call the bearing grounds.
Right.
And their main food source up there are berries and rodents, such as Arctic ground squirrels.
Ah.
There are a few places where they get some fish, sheefish or whitefish, whatever it is. A few places where they get some salmon. But mainly they're up there in a fairly impoverished landscape and traveling huge distances to get enough food.
Yeah.
If they're lucky, they get to kill a caribou or muskoxen now or then, or to scavenge a carcass.
Are they smaller? Are they smaller animals, Stephen?
Oh yeah, they're much smaller than the coastal bears, and they have a much lower reproductive rate.
Okay.
Bears here in the coast reach sexual maturity about 5 years. Up there, they might be 8 or 10 years old before they mature. Here, they may have 3 cubs per litter. Up there, more likely they have 1 or 2. And they may keep them until they're about 4 years old before they wean them, instead of weaning them at 2 or 3 like they do here.
Yeah.
So yeah, would be much more cautious about those bears.
How many are there, those? Because see, like I said, I used to go up to the tundra a ton, and I kept hearing about all these bearing ground grizzlies, and I never saw one. I mean, I must have gone up there 50 times into bearing ground grizzly country, but never saw one. Are they rare?
Well, yeah, I mean their density is very low. I don't have the figures in front of me, but maybe 10% or 5% of what they are here on the coast. Maybe
I see. Less. Okay, all right. Well, I don't want to stick on that. Now, but since we're already up in the Arctic and we're talking about it, you've had encounters, haven't you, with polar bears?
The only polar bear encounter I ever had was at the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus when they got too close to the cage and one of them tried to catch me. I was with Ursula Bodiger, who was the one who raised him and trained them, and I was friends with the bear trainers in the circus, various people, and anyway, we got too close to the cage and this bear reached out under it. It seemed like it was asleep, and all of a sudden its claws were flashing at me, and she hadn't pulled me back, it would have grabbed me and pulled me in to start chewing on me.
Gee.
But no, out in the wild, no polar bears.
So what are your thoughts on polar bears and their aggressiveness compared to grizzlies that you've worked with? How would you compare the two?
Polar bears are probably even more predatory than a grizzly bear, which is more predatory than a black bear. That said, none of them are very predatory towards people. Grizzly bear is the most defensive bear because it evolved out where there were no trees to climb to get away from danger, and they were out there with a giant short-faced bear, with woolly mammoth, with giant ground sloth, and all sorts of other critters, dire wolves, that were dangerous to the cubs. So they had to protect themselves by being large and aggressive. Whereas the polar bear is up there in the Arctic, where the only thing it worries about is other bears. occasionally wolves, but they don't have much in the way of other enemies up there. And black bears, of course, live down here where they have more enemies, but they've got trees to climb. The coastal bears where I am, well, they have trees to climb, which some of them do, and they have a lot of places to hide and escape. So that causes difference in temperament between the different species and different populations of bears.
Oh, you're muted, Doug.
Do you think that grizzlies, black bears, all bears can recognize firearms? Do you think, I mean, I've always heard they know what a gun is. They know what a gun is. And I wonder, it's an inanimate object. How would they know what a gun is?
I have no indication that they recognize a gun. I can't say that a bear might not learn given opportunity, but when you have an animal out there and you're shooting at it, if you don't hit it, it runs away and has had no ill effect except for a loud noise. If you do hit it, it's probably not going to be running away and retaining a memory. So
yeah,
I don't put a lot of stock in that. But I do put stock in the idea that people behave differently when they've got a firearm and they think it's going to be something to protect them against bears. But sometimes it's an illusion, but that is the way people think.
Yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Have you had a bear running at you? What people talk about getting charged by a bear. People think, I sight in on the bear and I shoot the bear. But a bear runs in kind of a rocking horse gait. Its head comes up, its head goes down. Its head goes up, its head goes down. So even when it's running on flat ground, it has that rocking horse motion, unlike an African lion, which is kind of a bullet. So if you're aiming at a bear and you want to shoot it in the forehead, you've got less than a tenth of a second to take aim and shoot before that head's moved out of the way. And it's hard with a charging bear to be able to hit him in a lethal spot or someplace that's going to break a leg so it slows him down.
Interesting. Mark, you can hear me, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you cannot hear Steven.
I've been hearing him as long as I don't talk.
Oh, I got you.
Hopefully-
Okay, so I think it is.
I've been hearing him. So if Steve, can you say something one more time?
Yep.
Oh wow! All right. Well, now I'm full back. Okay.
Anyway, Mark, I enjoyed listening to you earlier.
Oh, thank you, sir. I enjoy listening to you as well.
Mark, I want to bring up a situation. Hey, hang on, Mark. We got a delay here, so it's easy to talk over each other.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the time we were filming? Me and you were up in Duluth, and we were up on a small hill or a rocky mountain. There was a chocolate bear that had denned up. You had told me about. We went up there to film it. It was a female with 2 chocolate cubs. Do you remember that?
I do, and you ran ass down that hill when she came out.
Well, both of us did. We were tethered together.
I was only running to catch up to you because
this is his story.
Deck, we had an umbilical cord. I didn't have a choice. I had to follow you.
Yeah, right. That wasn't your choice. I remember you. We got to the bottom of your hill, telling us like, man, she didn't make any noise. She just came at us.
It only barely came out, I'm sure. Barely came out. And yeah, Doug was gone.
Has your story changed or what? Oh my God.
An umbilical cord. I didn't have a choice. I had to follow. Oh, that was funnier than hell. God, we laughed about that. Yeah, she was beautiful. We got some good shots. She was way inside this rock outcropping. I mean, the hole is this big and she's this big. And gosh, she was just gorgeous. But yeah, we got some good footage of her.
We were with her the entire day. And had no problems with her and her cubs, no problems at all. And then we left for lunch. We came back, and that was a different story. She didn't want us. Yeah. She didn't want us.
I think she was just getting tired of it.
Yeah, I think so.
And we were just probably there.
But anyhow, me and Mark had we were tethered together, running down some kind of very jagged rock cliff, Stephen.
We get to the bottom, I'm like, Doug, we're good. We're like a mile away. We're good.
Oh man, and,
That was funny. That was funny.
That was one of our most humorous moments.
Have you ever been with Lynn when we see cubs and a mother on the side of the road, and you go running at them, and cubs just go up a tree, and they're you climb in the tree trying to get them down and to measure them and weigh them and such, and mom won't come near you. She won't come near you.
Have you spent time with Lynn, Dr. Lynn Rogers, Stephen?
Yeah, Lynn and I have been friends. Oh God, we got started about the same time. Him in '66, me in '69.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've known each other for 40-some years, I guess. And I've never been out with him when there were bears out there, though I was at his office once when the bears came in.
So you've been to Minnesota, then, I take it.
Yeah, and he joined me in Vermont once. I held a mini conference there, and he came along there, and then we rescued a bear that had gotten hit by a car, and I brought it back to my office using a company vehicle, and the state police arrived because I called them and let them know, and they said, well, we're going to have to confiscate your vehicle and arrest you for taking a bear out of season. I said, well, we just pulled it off the highway so it wouldn't get anybody else hit it or have an accident trying to dodge it. And then, we couldn't pull it off right where it was because there was a guardrail there. We had to bring it down here 100 yards. We performed the public service, and they said, well, we're going to have to arrest you anyway. Well, about that time, they had a Fish and Game for Vermont arrived. You guys crazy? Because you've got all the bear biologists in Eastern North America here at this meeting, and if you're going to have to arrest all of them, because we're going to have a trouble with the governors of every state around here. Are you insane? Besides, this guy Stringham is the witness in a court case against the governor about bear habitat. They said, you insane. So finally the cops relented, and we carried the bear out into the woods and set it down. They said, well, just leave it there and it'll die on its own. I said, fine. And as they're walking away, I hear one say to another, come back in an hour and shoot the damn thing.
Wow.
So as soon as Lynn and the other biologists were back in the office and cops were gone, I went out and picked the bear up, about 150-pound black bear, and I carried it in the woods. And for the next couple of days while I was unconscious in the coma, I brought it honey water, and I dribbled it on its tongue and massaged its throat so it swallowed the water. And after a couple of days of this, with its head in my lap, and I'm doing this, opens its eyes and looks at me, turns its head aside and bites my foot very lightly, like enough, Steve. So I desisted, and it got up and walked away and fell over, and I took it water, and we continued on that for about half a day, and finally it was strong enough to leave. And after that, occasionally I'd see its tracks, but that's the only time Lynn and I have ever been out in the woods with a bear together.
Wow, that's quite a story.
That's awesome.
That's amazing, Stephen, that you did that.
So how are you, Steve, in the woods directionally? Can you find your way out of the woods?
Well, I've been doing it for 60-some years, but this doesn't mean I can always do it. Get up here in the Alaska forest with what we call dog-ear woods, where the trees are very close together and they're spruce, nasty stuff. You get in there and you can't see anything except trees. Now, it's very easy to get totally lost up here or out in some of the swampy areas. But when I lived in California and some areas of Alaska where it was a little better terrain, I kept my direction pretty well.
Well, the reason I ask is, and I'm going to give you one quick little Lynn Rogers story. I grew up watching him on Nat Geo, Jacques Cousteau, National Audubon, you name it. He was on it as I was a kid. He was totally my hero. And then I got the opportunity to meet him when I did a video. And
so much for heroism, right?
I'm sorry?
So much for the hero, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm just kidding you.
No, it's true though. And that's where we're going with this. It's kind of funny because him and I just hit it off. He calls me one day and says, after I interviewed him, First time I met him, the guy's incredible. And he says, you ever want to come up and hang out with me and go chase bears? And I go, oh, let me think about it. Yes. And so we got to be really good friends, and he asked me to go track this bear with him in the dead of winter. And we were pretending, well, she had a radio collar, but he already knew where she was. So back in the day, you know, you had the antennas that you track the bears with and so on and so forth. We get to this female in the den, and he goes inside and videos her, and we're having a great time. And I said, all right, Lynn, we need some tracking shots of you with your little antenna going around. And, you know, we just got 4 inches of fresh snow. And so I video him going down this way and going down that way and going down this way. I said, all right, Lynn, we're done. Let's go back to the sled. We're done. And he goes, oh, okay. Mark, you know what? This is your first expedition with me, so let's see how you do. Let's see how you take us back to the sled. I said, oh, all right. Thank you. Yeah, I'm on my way. And, you know, I'm only 20-some years old. And so I'm walking and walking, and it's dawning on me the way he's saying this. It's just weird. So I go, why don't you find your way back to the sled? He goes, well, I don't really know where it is. And I go, oh, okay, well, no problem. I'll take us back. So we're walking, and it's all these years of watching this guy on TV. He's the man that walks with bears. He follows a wild bear into the woods, follows them for days to document what they do. He is it for black bears. How do you get out? So I finally stopped, and I go, you know, how do you get out of the woods? You follow bears for days. Yeah, I do, don't I? I said, yeah, you do. How do you get out of the woods? He goes, well, I just follow them long enough, and they eventually come across a road or a campground or a dump. I know where I am. The guy can't find his way out of the woods at all. He's so directionally challenged, it's ridiculous. It's hilarious. So, yeah, he just has to follow them long enough to get to somewhere he knows where they are.
Oh.
That's Lynn.
Funny.
Yeah, that was my first experience. I went, you know what? You totally just burst my bubble.
So okay. I gotta get back on track here.
Yes.
So obviously, a lot of like the DNR, they do research totally different than you and Lynn do. You guys, yeah. I would imagine you do your research based on trust, correct? You trust the bear trust based on trust.
Right.
And they do their research generally with tranquilizers and darts, correct? I mean, is that still the way it's being done up in Alaska?
Lynn and I have done a lot of that too.
No, I realize that in the early days, but now right. Generally, but you don't do that anymore, do you?
I haven't for 30 years or so.
Yeah. But what would be your, I don't want you to make enemies with wildlife managers, but do you have any like things that they do that bug you, or rules they have, or have they gotten in your way ever in your life? You know, these government wildlife managers. Is there something you'd like to see them do different?
When I was first up in Alaska, I tried to get a job with the Fish and Game Department, but I wasn't there primarily to kill animals. So, and I wasn't there to kill all the predators. So I was persona non grata. I left Alaska, went to Europe, worked other places, finally came back up here and came back to kind of the same situation, which is what I'd encountered in all the other states. You know, bears are there to be shot. That's what they're there for. They're just, you know, living targets for people's sport. And I, of course, I had already learned about being friends with bears, so I wasn't keen on that. And it has taken 30 years being back here in Alaska, gradually going through one generation after biologist to another, and they've gotten to know me better and better, and the bear viewing industry has picked up, so it's not just me talking about this. Other people are, and recently one of the local bigwigs, who became a very good friend of mine, still is, Jeff Selinger, retired, and when he had his retirement party, he turned to his boss and said, a lot of people think Steve's kind of crazy when he talks about bears, but pay attention. I think he really knows, he really understands what's going on. So it's taken 30 years here plus another 30 years elsewhere, and we're making progress. You don't change people's minds so much as the old ones retire and the new ones come on and think of things a little differently. But it's gradually becoming understood. And I've founded and chaired the Bear Viewing Association and done everything I can to promote bear viewing. And one reason being that this gives value to live bears and gets people interested in watching them, understanding them, instead of just wanting to shoot them.
Right.
And of course, the bear hunters, a lot of them hate that because they say, well, you're ruining our sport. And I said, well, there are only maybe a few hundred bears in Alaska that are watched, and you got another 100,000 bears that aren't watched. So maybe we haven't really done much to ruin your sport at all. So anyway, different people, different ideas. Mostly the guys in Fish and Game and here and every other place I've worked have been fine biologists, good people. Often people I admired, some of them who far more skilled than I am in certain ways, and some of them could benefit from my insights.
Yeah. Well, I just found it such a, sad situation with Lynn. It seemed like the DNR was doing everything they could to stop him doing research, taking away his permits to call, or taking away his ability to put us to put den cams in. It just kept, it seemed like some kind of jealousy to me.
Well, it's certainly petty, and his arch opponent and I were grad students together at University of Tennessee, and we both competed for that job. Lyndon wanted me to get it because he knew I was more attuned to him rather than the other guy who was very much against him. The other guy got it, which was appropriate. He was a better fit for the job than I was. I wanted to be back in Alaska, not Minnesota. But anyway, it's been very petty. I faced a lot of that here too. When I didn't apply for research permits, they were always denied. When I applied for grants, they were always blocked. When I applied for jobs, I was blackballed. But I didn't have children, so I wasn't forced to settle for less. So I've continued to do the conservation and research on my own, at my own expense. And it's been a very meager living, but it's been a very rich living. And I can be happy with what I've done. I wish more people had understood what we were doing. And now that more people are understanding it, they're wondering what the hell, what all the hullabaloo's about. This should have been off it, Steve. Why did you take so long to get people to pay attention? So when you innovate something, it's impossible. Nobody can understand it. When they understand it, it's so obvious. What's the big deal?
Well, what is your general message about bears in general? I'm seeing a huge change in my area. We're getting black bears now that are living in the suburbs. It used to be years ago, they would automatically tranquilize them or shoot them and move them or get rid of them. And now people are tolerating them living in the neighborhoods. They're bringing in their bird feeders. Seems to be about the biggest change they got to make. Is that also what you're after with either, grizzlies and black bears, just tolerating, living alongside them, respecting them, but feeling like you're not in danger immediately with a bear?
I don't expect bears that I meet them to be aggressive toward me. And if I start detecting a hint of aggression, then I let them know I'm not a threat to them, that I'm cooperative with them. And usually they accept that. people have the idea, well, if you show weakness or if you back down at all, this encourages aggression. It can in certain situations, but if the bear is doing that because it's afraid and you convince it that you're not a threat to it, that you're cooperative, then they generally do the same. Now,
How do you do that,
You know,
Stephen? How do you show a bear you're not a threat?
Again, it's a matter of not staring at it, kind of looking off to the side, being easy and loose in my body language. Definitely not yelling at the bear, screaming at it, etc. There are moments for that, but I do it judiciously. One of my friends, Ann Bryant, at Lake Tahoe area, crawls under houses to scare bears out from under people's crawl spaces or get them out of their homes. And she's just this woman in her 60s, or I guess 70s now, who is very good at dealing with these bears, and she gets it done. She's never been hurt by a bear. I've done those sorts of things, somewhat with grizzly bears up here. Had one bear that kept hanging around trying to get in the porch of this lodge. And so I shooed it away and kept walking behind it, and it moved away from me and it kind of glanced back, and it was at ease, and I just kept pushing until finally I pushed it too hard and it glanced back and it stared on me like and said, "Okay, buddy, I'm cooperating, don't push it." And so I backed off, and then it continued on the way I was trying to get it to go. And some of the experiences are a lot hairier than that, but again, most of the bears are fairly cooperative unless there's something there that they really want. And we've had bears that we didn't let them get our food, but they did tear into the septic line to get to the gray water from the kitchen. All those little bits of food, it would lick that up like it was the greatest delicacy in the world. And I could stand behind the thing 5 feet away, yell at it, and just totally ignore me. And we dosed it with pepper spray, it ran off, but it came back again. And finally, I had to take some additional measures to convince the bear that this was not an acceptable situation. And it finally accepted it. But other bears had to be taught separately.
So let's talk about a fed bear, where people feed bears. I know that there's a lot of cabin owners in Minnesota that feed bears. They get along with bears. The bears hang out. Vince Schutte was a great example of somebody who got along with bears. He took it to the extreme, but he'd have 20, 30 bears in his yard at times. But is a fed bear a dangerous bear? Let's just cut to the chase.
Okay. If you had a sale at Bloomingdale's on bras, let's say, you might have 1,000 women rushing to get them and fighting each other like mad, paying enormous amounts of money for something they get home and they didn't really want. That happened to my first mother-in-law. She'd buy everything on sale, fighting to get it and get home and throw it away because it was hers. Bears can be somewhat the same way. When food's really in short supply, they can get a little desperate. They can get a little pushy. And if you are the only place around that has food, let's say the bears come into your garbage can and there are no berries out there and there are no nuts, no food, fish, yeah, they're going to go after your garbage. And if you get in the way, they can get a little rowdy trying to keep what they've got. They can tear into your cabin to get it. On the other hand, if you have 50 people out there that are feeding bears, the bear comes to your place and finds there's not food, he goes to the next place. Keeps going down the tail line until he gets enough food. So it depends on how much food's out there in nature. It depends on how many bears are competing for it. Depends on how much food's available from people and whether the bear can go to the homes of the people who are glad to feed him and skip the people who don't want to feed him.
Right.
That's what's happened there in the Eagle Township, I think they call it, is that there are enough people who feed the bears relative to the number of bears. There's enough food, so they can come and have the snacks. And most of the time there's enough food in the woods that what they come out for is just a snack. But when things are bad in the woods, a lot of these people provide more food, and they get enough. But if all those people suddenly were told by the law they couldn't feed bears, or that was a crime and they quit feeding them, those bears then come out looking for food, and then you likely have problems. The one thing you don't want to do generally is feed a bear by hand, because accidents can happen.
Okay. But is there anything wrong with somebody putting a bunch of hazelnuts in their yard, a pile of hazelnuts, as an example, to help feed bears?
Again, if food in general is fairly abundant, so all the bears getting at your house is a treat, then they're probably not going to do any harm if you're in an isolated house where you don't have other people in other houses who don't want bears around.
Okay.
On the other hand, if that hazelnut is all the bears got to eat, then he might eat that treat and then go looking for more, even if you didn't want him to. So it's very situational.
Okay.
And even when I raised cubs, I did a minimum feeding of them. I spent most of my time out in the woods with them, helping them learn what to eat and where to find it. I didn't want them getting used to being fed by me, and didn't want them going looking at other people's places to get food.
So the question remains, if you want bears around, it's okay
it's such a big controversy these days on if you should be feeding them or not.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm sure you put out food for the bears, don't you, Mark, at your ranch? Mark, hello? I don't think he heard me.
Well, I personally don't. I personally advise people not to feed bears.
Okay.
Around their homes, etc. Much better situation is if you had someplace out in the woods, let's call it a viewing area.
Okay.
And people could go out to the viewing area if they wanted to take some food out there. And as long as there was a lot of food in excess more than the bears want, then you could toss something, you don't have a problem. But if bears come in to get fed and all they're getting is a little treat, they can get very frustrated.
Okay.
I used to watch black bears at a garbage dump, and people would feed the bears by hand. They would feed them candy and popcorn and marshmallows and all sorts of things, and there was never any problem as a general rule because there was so much food that bears weren't going to fight you to get something. Now, one big male we called Cubby, very gentle old male, walked up to a guy who had a ham bone in his hand, and the guy had been just cutting off pieces of ham and tossing it to Cubby. Well, Cubby wanted more than those little pieces. He saw the whole ham bone, and he wanted all of it. So finally, he gets frustrated and walks up to the guy, and the guy keeps backing away until he runs into his pickup truck, and there he's pressed against the hood of his pickup truck, and old Cubby walks up to him. The guy raises his arms up in the air so the ham bone's as high as he can get it. Cubby stands up, reaches up with one hand, pulls the guy's hand down, grabs the ham bone in his teeth, pulls it out of the guy's hand, and walked away. No harm done. In another case, there was a guy with a 2-year-old daughter who was feeding a black bear. And the guy and his wife are feeding it, and the little 2-year-old, she wants to do it too. So the guy gives her a marshmallow, and she hands it to the bear. But the kid didn't know enough to let go of the marshmallow. It kept his fingers curled around him. The bear takes the kid's hand in his mouth, holds it very gently with his teeth, uses his tongue trying to pry the marshmallow out of her fingers. So he definitely knew the difference between marshmallow and fingers.
Wow.
And the daddy's starting to freak out, getting ready to hit the bear, and I screamed for him to stop. Ran over, grabbed the marshmallow bag from his hand, dropped it on the ground next to the bear. The bear sees one marshmallow in my mouth, a whole bag of them there. So he went for the bag of marshmallows. Kid's hand was not even scratched.
Yeah. If you could, okay,
count on that.
That's a great story. I always describe black bears as animals with a lot of restraint. They seem restrained. I don't know. I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but they're not like a energetic dog coming up licking you and, jumping on you. They're very shy. They'll approach you cautiously. They'll maybe sniff you. They'll back off. Even with cubs, they're very restrained. Is that a good word to describe black bears? And how would you describe grizzlies then? Same way or?
Same way. Same way.
Okay.
The bears I deal with bend over backwards to get along with people.
Yeah. Whether
we're on a salmon stream or someplace else and they're around people, they try very hard not to provoke us. They want to be there and they want to eat. They don't want to get chased off.
Yeah.
And even if they could beat us individually in a fight, they don't want to fight. They want to eat.
Yeah, Lynn used to always tell me, Stephen, that black bears are really, really smart. And that's why they can sort of be almost tamed, meaning you can develop this sort of trust because they're so intelligent. And yet they're still wild, but yet they'll be able to discern your demeanor and your intentions based on their high intelligence. Do you see the same thing with grizzlies and black bears?
Yeah, but remember, you see the same thing with horses and dogs too.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not exactly a rare phenomenon.
No.
Animals are evaluating us all the time.
Yeah.
You'll find squirrels that will come up and eat out of people's hands and learn to avoid certain people.
Is there, animals and period are amazing. And anybody that hasn't had experience with wild animals, I feel bad for them. But on the same token, these grizzly bears are dangerous. They can kill you. A black bear can kill you if it wants to. And that's the interesting, weird feeling that I always got, even working with Lynn, filming. I'm standing there while Lynn's taking away cubs from a wild mother. But he knows what he's doing. I trust him. But I'm standing right there filming everything. And it's always in the back of your mind. You could be killed by these animals. But I walked away.
Yeah. Lynn pushes the envelope farther than I do. I've been out with him with grizzly bears, and this one bear was working its way up a waterfall looking for salmon. It was getting dark, and Lynn follows up 5 feet behind it, filming with his night vision. I considered that too intrusive, but the bear didn't seem to mind. I've seen people do a lot worse. Had one guy who path the bears were walking along, he laid down on the path so the cinematographer could film him being walked over.
Interesting.
Now imagine what would have happened if a plane had come by and spooked the bear that was stepping. It might have stepped on him, done a lot of damage. Then they would have wanted to shoot the bear. It's kind of like Tim Treadwell in that respect.
I was just going to ask you your opinion on that one. And I know that's a huge question, but briefly. Timothy Treadwell.
The long and the short of it was that Treadwell was, quote, befriending bears, and people said, oh, he's going to get himself killed, and after 13 years he did. We told you so. But people go out there viewing those same bears day after day with nobody getting hurt. And Tim did not get hurt by the bears he'd been befriending. There were some bears that lived in the backcountry that did not like people, and they normally did not come out to the front country because there are enough salmon that got back there that they could eat their fill without getting their people. But that one year, 2003, there was almost no salmon that came into the river. The only place they could get that was right near the mouth of the river, and there were almost no berries. So you've got these irascible bears there who are chasing off all the other bears and hogging a few salmon for themselves. Tim gets out there and he keeps trying to scare those bears away so that a female that he liked with a cub could get salmon. So he's irritating the heck out of those bears. He's camped right on the bear trail because that was the only place that didn't have trees on it. He doesn't carry pepper spray. He didn't use an electric fence. He thought he could bully any bear. I had warned him that was foolish, but he figured he knew more. And in dusk, I think it was in dusky afternoon, sleet, dark weather, bear came to his camp, started rummaging around through his food supplies, so it didn't come there just to eat him. It just came rummaging, looking around. He came out of his tent yelling at it. And when you're 5 feet from a brown bear, grizzly, and you're yelling at it, don't be surprised if it turns out and swats you. And once you get swatted and you're bleeding, you're screaming, you're acting like prey, you taste like prey, and the bear says, woo!
Prey.
So Tim would have probably never gotten hurt if he'd just been a little more restrained about it, like most of the bears are. And certainly anybody with any sense should have known when you get bears like those big males that were there, stay the hell away from them. They don't want you around. And Tim said, well, I can bully him. I can be the alpha. I can back him down. I said, Tim, in the bear's world, you can't hurt him if you can't touch him. So they stay out of arm's length. They stay a little further away. Sometimes they'll run a bit from you. So they're safe. Well, they're evaluating. But I said, sooner or later, they're going to realize you're not an unruly cub. You don't have a mother there to protect you. And they're going to get tired of it. And he kept courting it, wouldn't take normal precautions, and he suffered the consequences.
So you're for sure that he could have avoided that whole thing, what happened to him. Such a sad ending. Did you know Timothy?
Not well. I met him a couple of times out there at Katmai.
Okay.
2 months before he was killed. We ran into each other, and he says, oh, there's 2 guns, Stringham. I said, what are you talking about? I don't carry a gun. He says, well, you got 2 cans of pepper spray. Why the hell do you need 2 cans? I said, Tim, if I happen to spray a bear and I'm away from camp, I still have to get back to camp. And I may need another can to get back. Or I may be harassed by 2 or 3 bears, which has happened here fairly frequently. These recently weaned 2 or 3-year-olds can become pretty pushy. And when you got 2 or 3 of them around you, and they're being that way, it would be good to have 2 cans. And so he, just said, well, you're crazy. And do you use an electric fence around your camp at night? I said, yes, I use an electric fence around my camp. He said, why? You're afraid a bear's going to come at night and eat you? Yep. Well, anyway, let me comment. I noticed that you've got some comments on here, one of which from Sasa Saga. Not that they don't like people. They're bears doing what bears do. It's dangerous to anthropomorphize. Well, tell you, Sasaga, why don't you get to know bears before you start judging what's anthropomorphism and what's not? There are a lot of psychological similarities between bears and apes, people, and a variety of other animals. And after 60 years and tens of thousands of encounters with these animals, I think I'm a pretty good judge of what they're doing and what they're not doing. And someone else said here, what did you think accounts for the uptick in bear attacks worldwide the past couple of years? A couple of years ago, I published a paper showing that the number of bear attacks relative to the number of people in the United States had stayed pretty even for about 40 years. In other words, there was a straight line relationship. Then in the 1990s and the 20s, or 2010 to 2020, in that 20-year period, the level of attacks had leveled off at about 3 people killed per year, even though the population in the United States, Canada, were still growing exponentially. Then in the past 5 years, we've had a dramatic uptick in the number of people who've been killed by bears, more than a 25% increase these 5 years over any similar period in history. What's causing this, I don't know, but part of it is that our ideas about food conditioning and habituation, some other things, are archaic. That's why I've been doing the research I'm doing and writing some articles I'm writing now, trying to bring a little better understanding of what's going on, because your methods have to be closely tailored to the problems you're trying to solve, or you're not going to get good results. Right now, the challenges are getting higher, So we have to up our game. We have to do a better job, and that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. And what is your main goal in a nutshell, Stephen? Can you kind of summarize? What is your goal?
My three goals are, in order of personal priority, is to know bears as closely as I know people. I call it knowing minds within the skins of other kinds. Second is to keep people from being injured by bears. And third is to minimize the number of bears that are killed by people and thinking that the bears are aggressive when they're not being aggressive. But I'm absolutely fascinated by bears, and I'm just very frustrated that it's been so slow to really get to understand them, in part because there's been so much opposition to the sort of work that Lynn and I do. People haven't understood it. And so instead of trying to learn from us and help us do the research to elucidate it, they said, well, this research is not worth doing. It's counterproductive, et cetera, et cetera. So they blocked us. And as I say, it's taken all these years before they finally begin to understand what we understood decades ago. But that's the nature of life, is people have a way of thinking that they think reflects reality, and they have a hard time grasping that if you look at things from a different angle, sometimes you get a clearer view of reality.
Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
On the Timothy Treadwell, it's amazing to me because this guy was out there 13 years, and he had one problem. And obviously that night, going out trying to chase a bear away at night, had he not done that, he'd still be going out there. 13 years. This isn't 13 times he went out there. He spent months on end every year for 13 years and finally met the bad bear that did him in. So these bears are just not that dangerous. I mean, look at the stuff he got by with, to me, is incredible. And then, of course, he had the bad incident, but it only takes one. But 13 years, this isn't like, wow, I just took a hike in the woods and I had a problem with a bear. It's 13 solid years worth of it. So that's what, to me, is amazing with that story. But they don't really promote that aspect of it, in anything you see about Treadwell. You don't see that, oh, my God, it's been 13 years. So, yeah.
Were there things, Stephen, other things that he did wrong? Was he just lucky for those 13 years? Was he doing things right? Was there anything he was doing wrong that other than that night? Could you?
Well, in general, not carrying pepper spray.
Okay.
Not using an electric fence around his camp.
Okay.
Those were the main, that plus his ability, his illusion that he could bully any bear. And, the fact that you get away with it with lower ranking bears that are used to accommodating higher ranking, they just don't want any trouble. But you try that with the big males, they're out there pushing everybody, frequently. They're testing who they can accommodate and who they can't. And those aren't the bears you screw around with.
And he still got by with it for 13 years.
Well, yes and no. Those big males did not spend much time around where he was. They avoided people. But it's when the food supply failed in the backcountry that they came forward.
Right.
So they were definitely looking for a meal.
Yeah, not looking for him as a meal, but they were after those salmon for sure.
Right.
If that bear had come to attack him as food, it would have just jumped on the tent. It wouldn't have started rummaging around through his stuff.
Yeah.
When I raised my bear cubs, I sometimes would go camping with them. And if I was in my tent, they'd jump on my tent. It was like having your hand in a paper bag and wiggling around in front of a cat. The cat says, pray, jumps on it. No, I don't like being in a tent with a bear outside. I've been there. I've spent many a night in absolute terror, wondering when a bear was going to come in on me.
Would you prefer a screen tent?
What?
Would you prefer a screen tent? I always did. I always like to be able to see what's outside, so I always use a screen tent.
Well, the rain is a little too heavy for that. I eventually got a tent that I had a little screen window on, but the book that Doug has published already is called The Phantom Grizzly, and the sequel is called Nearly Breakfast for a Grizzly Bear, and it tells how I woke up one time with the bear sniffing my head after I'd made the mistake of sleeping in a clear plastic tent.
What can you tell us why the title Phantom Grizzly? Can you explain that experience that you had?
Yeah. Back in 1966, there were supposedly no grizzly bears left in the Bitterroot Mountains of Montana. And I was working for the Forest Service, and we horse-packed back into the country there, about 15 miles near the base of Trapper Peak. We camped there, and I and another guy climbed the peak. And, you know, I was young, fit, and in my 20s, and we climbed all the way up pretty mid to the peak. And I decided, well, I didn't want to go back down the same way I'd come up. I was in some other countries, so I came down a little different route, which by chance took me a few miles from where I'd intended to come out. And so I had to walk back to our camp going around the base of the mountain. On my way back, I got stalked by a grizzly bear. I wasn't sure what it was. All I could do was see this dark silhouette against the starlit sky. And it wasn't enough to be absolutely sure that it wasn't just my imagination, but every place I walked, and for a couple of miles, it kept staying about the same distance away. So I figured it had to be a bear, though I wasn't sure. And then finally, when I came over a rise and saw a camp where they had a big bonfire going to guide me in, I heard a roar behind me and turned around, and there, silhouetted against the harvest moon, was the head and shoulders of a grizzly bear. And my body felt like I had just had ice water poured through it, and they about collapsed on the ground. I was so terrified. And anyway, it didn't do anything. I got down to camp and told the guide who brought us in, and he laughed and said, "You're crazy. No grizzlies left in this country." Well, the next morning we got up and there were grizzly tracks all around the camp. They scared off the horses. We had to go hunt them down. And for the next several years, he hunted that bear, and he'd see its tracks up there, but he never managed to get his gun on it. And one day, his hunters had gotten up about 4 in the morning, and they'd left the hindquarters of a dead horse as bait. They climbed up in the hillside into a hide up there to wait for the bear to come in get the carcass. And they waited and waited all day, and no bear showed up. And finally, disgruntled, they got up and started walking back to camp. And right up behind them was a big, huge, steaming pile of bear shit. The grizzly had been right up there behind him. They never did see it, but he got to calling that the Phantom Grizzly.
Wow. That's cool. Really cool.
So, Steve, you had mentioned you'd raised bear cubs. Can bear cubs learn natural behavior being raised by, like you?
Well, they'd been raised by their mother until they were about 5 months old.
Okay.
They were never captive. I'd had to shoot their mother because she was becoming very aggressive. And the people who owned the cabin where she came in, the deal was, well, I'd take care of her if they let me stay at the cabin for a while to take care of the cubs.
Okay.
And so the cubs came and went when they wanted to. I fed them for a couple of weeks, oatmeal and other food. That's all in that story, my book called Beauty Within the Beast. But anyway, I went out in the woods with them each day, and there were not much known then about what bears ate. So I got a book on wild foods that people could eat, and I would find those foods and I'd introduce them, and some things they figured out for themselves. Others, they would wait and watch when I started eating something. They'd come up and sniff my breath, and I guess they figured out that meant it was so good to eat, and then they'd eat it too. But mostly I'd say their behavior was quite natural. The main thing is to keep them away from going after garbage and stuff, trying to keep them away from other people. As I walked with them in the woods, if we detected anybody else's trail up there, and they start sniffing on it, I'd raise fuss and chase them away, run away with them, and tried to get across this was a bad thing, stay away from other people.
Wow, okay.
And anyway, if people want to know more, read the book, Getting Within the Beast.
Yeah, say the title one more time.
Beauty Within the Beast.
Beauty Within the Beast, okay. So how aggressive was his mother when you say it was being aggressive? How aggressive was it? What was it doing?
A year or two before that, she'd been kicked out by her mother and was off on her own, and she ended up coming into this cabin, and they had food outside the cabin for their dog. The bear started eating the food, and people thought this was great. The guy worked at in the little village there in a grocery store, and would bring home vegetables and old meat and things like that, and feed it to the bear and to the dog. So she got used to feeding there, and then the next year she comes back and she's got 3 little cubs with her. And when she arrives, well, there's no food for her. The people no longer had a dog. He no longer employed. Didn't have any food to spare. And so she said, oh, well, I'll just go in the house. They wouldn't begrudge me a meal. They never have before. So she tears the cabin apart, getting goodies. And this went on several times, and the people are absolutely terrified about it. She's in there with her 3 cubs, and they're cuddled on their bed back there, and she's scared of them, because they're upset, and she's huffing and puffing and slamming her paws against the ground or against the bed they're on, and it was a nasty situation. I didn't know them at the time, but they came to me at the university because they said, "Oh, could you shoot a bear for us?" I said, "I don't shoot bears." I said, "Well, could you help us?" And I took pity on them and went out and saw what the situation was. And one thing led to another, and so I took care of the bears, helped them learn how to live on their own until the end of the summer. At that point, Fish and Game found out about it and said, "Oh, you're habituating bears. You got to shoot them." I didn't feel like shooting the bears, so I just chased them off. And every time they came near, I kept chasing them off. And then I got a job in Europe, and I went off to Europe. And people who owned the cabin eventually came back, and the bears came there a few times, but didn't cause any problems.
Good. Interesting. I can only imagine all of the things that you have seen all these years and all the bears. How many bears have you encountered, do you think, since the 70s?
Well, hundreds and hundreds of them, but I never really counted them. It's too hard to tell them apart to really know how many you're seeing.
Gosh.
If there's a takeaway message from this, and the thing I say is, folks, come on, go bear viewing with me or with some of my colleagues. You'll have an experience that you'll remember the rest of your life, especially when you're sitting 10 feet or 15 feet away from a grizzly bear that just wants to lay around like a giant dog. But if you got in the wrong situation, it could kill you. But then the same way with cars. We drive cars every day. We don't worry about it, but people are killed by cars every day.
It's true. There's a billion ways to die, aren't there? So do you teach people when you bring them out bear viewing, are you teaching them behavior and how to react to bears and how to read their behavior?
That's my goal. Some people just want to take pictures. That's what most people come for, and they don't want a lot of instruction. But other people do. And next spring, early summer, I'll also be offering a course. I think we can take up to about 10 people and take them out for a week with the brown bears, the grizzlies. Brown bear is just a coastal grizzly. Yeah, it's an extraordinary experience. All I can say is people grab it while you can, because with all the mining development and everything else that's going on out there, it won't be there 20 years from now.
Yeah. Even
in the national parks, because those bears are migratory. If they get killed outside the park, they don't get into the park.
Yeah. So what is a bear that's really quiet and approaching you more dangerous than a bear that's slapping the ground and clacking its teeth and so on. How can you tell whether it's just a bunch of bluffing, or is it, or are they maybe getting in position to attack you?
By body language. Let me give you one final example here. A few years ago, I had a BBC film crew out with me. We filmed all day. We were cold and tired. We got back to the lodge building, which is a one-room chalet. And on the outside of the building, there's about a 5 or 6 year old male grizzly, brown bear, on its hind legs with its front claws ripping into the side of the building. Now, it was a log building, so he's not going to do much damage to the logs. But right next to that was the plumbing for the building on the outside. If he tore that up, it would be unlivable. No toilet, no anything. So I had to stop him. And I yelled at the bear, I said, "Stop that!" And he glanced at me and went back to what he was doing. And I yelled again, and he looked at me. And then finally, "Okay, Steve." And he gets down to all fours and he walks away, starts going around the corner of the building away from me. And I said, "Get the hell out of here." And that was too much. I pushed him too hard. He whirled around and came for me. He got to about 15, 20 feet away from me and starts biting and ripping at everything he can reach. Now, we had a bear in the cabin before that had ripped it up, so we had all new furniture, appliances. So we had the cardboard and the styrofoam and all the other wood packing out there. And he's ripping that stuff to shreds, looking at me, just roaring and ripping. He's telling me, "This is what I want to do with you. I just want to destroy you." And I'm standing there with this kind of pepper spray in my hand, just not moving a muscle, not betraying any relaxation at all. And that finally unnerved him, I guess, because he stopped and just stared at me, then turned and walked away. And this time I let him go without a sound. I didn't know how he was going to react the next time I saw him. But the next morning I came out of the chalet, and there he was 5 feet away from me. And I thought, "Oh, shit." And he looked at me and said, "Oh, shit." I could just see that, I guess you'd call it a submissive gesture on his part. Then he turned and walked away. Never gave me the slightest problem after that.
Interesting. So generally, a black bear that's noisy and slapping the ground and clacking its teeth is less dangerous, do you think, than a bear that's really quiet, sneaking up on you?
When a bear is being demonstrative like that, what Lynn will call blustering,
right?
Those are those are mild threats or warnings, and the bear is trying to intimidate you. He's testing you. Can he intimidate you or not? And then if the bear is coming up to you calmly, he's not trying to intimidate you. Now, either that's because he doesn't think he needs to, doesn't want to, or he's being predatory and doesn't want to spook you. But there are differences in the body language of those two things. The bear that's being predatory is not going to come up with the same easy gait as one that's just lolling along like a giant dog. So part of what I do is I spent years and years filming bears, trying to get examples of these nuances so that I could teach people about it. Years ago, 20-some years ago, we made a film called Staying Safe in Bear Country. And they have film footage there. They talk about bears being predatory. Those bears aren't being predatory at all. They're just walking along. But they didn't have predatory behavior, so they put that in there to say, well, this is, if you see a bear that looks like this, assume it's predatory. Because if it's really demonstrative, it's being what they call defensive. Not the best terminology, but it's what they used. And anyway, it's helped keep people safe, but it's also resulted in a lot of bears getting shot needlessly because people thought they were predatory when they really weren't predatory.
Right.
So anyway, it's, as I say, I've done all this at my own expense, and most of that money was earned working my ass off to get it. But this is what it's taken to get it done. And I hope that the books I've written entertain people enough that they will buy enough of them so we can get more funding to continue the research.
Yeah.
I want to get all this film footage I've been taking put into educational videos, but that takes a lot of time and it takes money to do it. So we got to raise some funding, and the book sales are one way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got what, 3 books out now or 4?
I think I've got 8 or 9 books out.
Oh, geez. Would they be able to find them all grouped together on Amazon under your
I
name?
just look under my name, Stringham plus Bears.
Okay.
You'll find them there. And so anyway, look at them. I've got to republish the safety manuals as ebooks, so they're cheap for people and they can see all the pictures in color. But working with you, we're getting the memoirs out, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, it really is such important work because we do need to be able to live with bears. We can't just shoot them and get rid of them. And I think it's exciting to see bear populations coming back so strong. Mark, have you seen a huge increase or any kind of increase up in your neck of the woods?
Gosh, all of Minnesota is actually, it's all over the internet. Even southern Minnesota right now, they're seeing black bears everywhere. So I don't know if it's I don't know if it's higher populations or if it just happens to be a year of they're moving in different areas. I would assume populations, because once an area, once the cubs have to, they grow up and they have to move on to a new area. If it's already overtaken with a male and female, they're going to have to keep moving. So, but Minnesota right now is getting hammered with bear sightings all over it. It's pretty cool.
And could I interrupt here just a second?
Please.
Yes, sir.
Your same person on here, I guess it's Asag, is asking whether there was an investigation after I killed the bear. No, there was not an investigation. I told Fish and Game what I'd done. I took in the carcass, followed all the rules. That's called defense of life and property.
Well, good. Thank you for answering that. But I just am very personally enthralled with all of the black bears that we have now in our areas. People are living with them. It's not like it used to be. They used to freak out. Now they're not. Now they're taking a photo and, they're putting it on like Nextdoor and all these, different websites. And it's not like it used to be. They used to just call Fish and Game and, report a dangerous animal. And now they're just saying, oh, this is cool.
I would say, and correct me if I'm right, this is just my opinion, Lynn Rogers has a lot to do with that, with the education and the word that he spread. But I think the internet as well has helped that because, everybody loves the cute bears and they always post little videos and pictures and everybody falls in love with them. And then it's not such a scary unknown anymore that they're seeing a lot of them. So I think the internet has helped people kind of start liking bears more than fearing them.
Yeah, no, I think there's been a big change in the attitude. Don't you also, Stephen, in the last, let's say 20 years, have you seen a big change in attitude?
Oh yeah. I'd say the primary thing has been our bear viewing up here in Alaska, taking people out. And of course, every film country under the sun makes videos about it.
Yeah.
So our biggest thing is trying to keep people from going overboard and, trying to do everything there that we're doing here without really understanding why it works here and may not work someplace else. A lot of people like your person on here, Santas, who's trying to find everything wrong that I did out there. And Sasaga, well, believe me, we have had lots and lots of interaction with all sorts of fish and game, fish and wildlife, etc., Park Service. This stuff has all been very well thought out, and we're coming to more and more consensus as the years go on.
All right. I got a question people are asking. Virax just asked, during all of your years of observation with bears in remote Alaska. Have you ever had any unexpected encounters, strange whistles, sounds, things thrown at you at your camp, unusual footprints or anything?
I ran into a group of hippies once. That's about it.
That's it. Oh, you had mentioned you saw something kind of weird in the water one time up in.
Oh yeah, well,
it was an interesting story.
I spent 2 years on the Blackfeet Indian Reservation. Well, 3 years on the Blackfeet Indian Reservation. First, I taught at their college. Then I created and ran their environmental office. Brought in grants from the Environmental Protection Agency, about $400,000. Developed these clean water, clean lakes, etc. programs, along with Stu Miller, who's one of the Blackfeet. And as part of my work, I had to take water samples to find out what the turbidity was, various chemicals in the water. And we were right next to Glacier National Park, so we got this absolutely pure water coming out of the park that would enter the reservation, and then because of the farming, etc., there, it would get crapped up. And by the time it left the reservation, it was all muddy sludge. But it's fall, and September, I go up to Swift Current Reservoir, which is pretty well drained out of all the water that was used for agriculture. And I have to go down the slope of the reservoir down to where there's a little water left in the bottom, maybe 20 feet wide and a few hundred yards long, and get some water samples. And I start down, and I see what looks like a goose down in the water below me, except that its neck is 2 to 3 times as long as any goose would be. And don't know what the heck I'm seeing. So I just continued down, and it dipped its head under 2 or 3 times and then dove underwater, which a goose would never do. And it never came back up. And I have no idea what it was, but I said, maybe this is what people see and call a Nessie. I talked to the people at the reservation headquarters there, and they said, oh, yeah, we know those. We call them the water people, and we don't talk about them. That's taboo. So that's all I know about it.
Interesting. Very interesting. Let's wind it up with any advice on bear spray for both black bears and grizzly bears. Stephen, do you have any advice on what type, how many, how many ounces should they carry?
I forget. I think they're like a 9-ounce can. It's about 6 or 8 inches tall. And they say they'll shoot about 30 feet. But if a bear is charging you, coming full tilt towards you, I'll start spraying when the bear's 30 feet away, because that gives you at most 2 seconds before the bear is on you. And you're supposed to have several seconds to spray there. The bear's walking towards you, I would never spray when it was more than 10 feet away. Why? Because you probably don't need it at all if it's just walking towards you. And you certainly don't want to waste it by shooting and having the wind blow it away, and then you've got an empty can and nothing to protect yourself with. But I carry pepper spray all the time. I always carry 2 cans if I can. I also carry marine flares. These are not like highway flares that you have to strike to get them started. They're more or less waterproof. If you need one, you just pop the top off of it, and it self-ignites. And they've been pretty effective at keeping bears at bay. Sometimes much more effective than pepper spray is. But you don't want them do it in bright, dry country where you could have a forest fire.
That's good advice. Jeff, do you want to put up as many book pictures as you can? We've got Phantom Grizzly, his latest. And I don't know if I think you have some of his older books, his previous books. There's Beauty Within the Beast. What book are you most proud of in your older books, of your older ones?
Beauty Within the Beast, in terms of it's a personal memoir, and I think it was the first book ever written that really portrayed bears that way, though Robert Leslie's book, The Bears and I, came close. That was in the 1960s. He published that. But the other books, the more technical books, When Bears Whisper, Do You Listen? That provides the most novel insights about how to deal with bears.
Is there somebody that's going to your place, Stephen? Are you training somebody?
Well, I'm working on it. I admit the biggest problem is that it costs me millions of dollars, literally, to get all this information, and people who want to get the information want it all for free. And I'd say, well, guys, I need some retirement. I'm 80 years old and don't have any money. I've got to make some money to continue doing this stuff. So anyway, I had some people lined up, but they just decided to go off on their own, and they had all my information. They didn't need me anymore. They're business people. That's what do you expect? Their whole thing is to make as much money as they can.
Yeah.
So I continue and hoping to find some good apprentices, and who knows?
Yeah, it's just
found a good apprentice. Yeah.
Well, I think about you and Lynn are both amazing, and with both of you, like you said, you're not 25 anymore.
Nope. But we've lived a darn good life. You
guys. Well, you've both changed the world, Stephen. You really have. You've contributed a huge amount of work, and you've, in many cases, you guys should get far more credit than either of you have. And I really commend all your work and all of the suffering that you've done. I mean, it's not so easy necessarily to walk and hike many, many, many miles every day, camp out night after night after night to do the kind of things that you do. You've sacrificed a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Well, we just look forward to seeing some of the fruition of it, where people can be more comfortable coexisting with bears, and that we can do more for bears what Jane Goodall did for chimpanzees, and really quit seeing them out there as beasts and start seeing them more like the New World's equivalent of primates.
Yeah.
There is so much to be discovered on them of what they are as personalities, their social systems. To me, it's almost as exciting as if you came across somebody from another galaxy that came down to visit us.
I've got one last dumb question. Do you feel that bears can see in the IR spectrum or the UV spectrum? What do you know about their vision? What have you thought about? They seem to be able to, pick out a certain. If they're going to eat grass, they'll pick out a certain type of grass and they'll eat that, but they'll skip around. It's like they can see the protein content in the grass.
Certainly, the brighter green most plants are, the more protein they have in them. Just as a general rule, like if you look at a spruce tree in spring and you see those buds are bright green, that's where they're full of protein. But any more than that, I simply don't know about it. Bears are not trichromatic like we are. They're dichromatic. So there are certain colors they're not picking up too well, but they do pretty well with that. I don't know how you would go about checking IR except doing experiments with them. In other words, we know that they don't have as rich a variety of cones as we do. They've got, I think, more rods than we do, which gives them a little bit better crepuscular vision than we have. But I'll tell you this, on the one experiment the bears we tested did have about 20/20 vision. So they're pretty similar to ours.
You're muted, Doug.
Well, to say one thing here, I look at your chats that are going on the side and look at these comments by people, and what always strikes me is people listen to a talk like this, and if it doesn't agree with their preconceptions, they assume you're crazy instead of saying, wow, this guy spent 60 years out studying bears. Maybe he might know something I don't. How can I learn?
Doug, are you there? I think you locked up.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm not locked up.
Oh, okay. It looked like you were, yeah, okay.
I can actually hear now.
Oh, okay.
Not for long though. I keep having to go in and out.
Yeah, Stephen, are you still there?
Yeah, it's been a privilege talking to you guys.
Yeah, well,
Mark,
it's been our
I enjoyed
pleasure.
your stories, and look more to chatting with Doug and Jeff in the future.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, it was
we'd like
great
to-
meeting you as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely get you back. People are very thankful for the information.
Absolutely.
And I think what we're going to do is let you go, Steve. There's somebody I need to bring on yet just to tell us one thing. Can you send Karl Sup
He has one already. I sent
a link?
Okay, adios.
Yep. Thanks, Steven. Have a good
Thank
night.
you, Steve. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Bye. Yeah, Karl has a link. I sent it to him earlier.
Oh, Karl, come on.
Did you want me gone?
No, you don't need to be gone.
I don't need to be gone, or I don't.
I
need
always
to be
want you gone. No, you don't need
Well,
to
I
be
know
gone.
that.
You're
but
good.
I should-
You're
Should I
good.
go?
No,
No. Okay, stay. All right.
stay.
Is it okay if I eat peanut butter?
No, that's not allowed. Karl says,
I
"Okay,
can't hear
hang
you
on.
again.
We only want you on for a few minutes, Karl." But
hear you.
I don't know what Karl's going to be able to relay.
I've had trouble all night. I can't hear you guys at all.
Can you hear us now?
I'm sure you're saying something bad about me.
Can you hear us now?
I'll go out and come back in.
I don't know what's going on. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it keeps resetting for some reason. His connection.
Yeah, he was like 5 marks on there at times.
Yeah, it keeps. There we go. Yeah, there we go.
I can
you
hear
hear
you
me
now. I can hear you now.
Okay, good. I think your computer's like from 1984.
It's a brand new MacBook Pro.
Yeah, from 1984, brand new.
It's 6 months old.
Okay.
God, you look like Joe.
Yeah.
He's
He could
like
be a
Joe.
twin.
He's like Joe.
I'm actually a lot taller than him, but we're both round.
I was with Joe yesterday. Oh my God, me and Joe.
Are you sure it was Joe or just Jeff?
It was Joe. It was the real
It
Joe.
was Joe. It was a real Joe.
Jeff is the counterfeit Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Totally.
So Karl, come on, Karl, get on.
Let me look
Yeah,
at
well,
my.
I'm
I
still
sent it
here.
to him.
I gotta get
Yeah,
off
but-
because I got a hard out here real soon. I'm gonna get clobbered.
Yeah, getting late.
Steven was
Karl,
awesome.
what do you mean, Karl? Wasn't he on expedition? I think he's on expedition. I think he still
I
is.
sent him a link. I think he should.
What are you eating, Peterson?
Peanut butter.
Just eating peanut butter while you're on a podcast.
It's really good. It's not,
You're not allowed to eat while you're doing a podcast.
it's not crunchy. There's no crunch.
Oh my God.
I just kind of suck on it.
Oh, I'd say it would be you, and we had my good friend Jesus Payan on, and he drove off during the podcast. He got in his car and drove off.
Well,
So you've now topped Jesus.
look at the time. Anything just popped up.
Come on, Karl. What are you doing? Oh,
Here
here
he
he is. Karl has entered the studio.
Welcome. Hey, Karl.
Karl, what did you have to do?
Hey, everybody. I had to run downstairs and get the laptop rebooted up.
All right.
Sorry about
Karl may or may not have some news to tell everybody. May or may not.
Is Carl on
I
a
do.
green
I
screen?
do. Are you,
Can you talk just
I-
verbally what happened? Verbally?
sure, I can absolutely do that. So
Okay, good. Go.
I was on an I was on an expedition for the last 5 days, 4 nights, and we, we had a lot of activity. It was pretty limited early on, but Friday night we went out to a location we went to on Thursday night, and when we got there, I actually was looking through the thermal and found a Bigfoot family unit of dad and mom with at least two younger ones. Later on in the video, they actually put the younger ones up the tree, so the young ones actually are climbing the tree. But the remarkable thing about the whole video is that it's over an hour long, which that never happens, and that
Okay, stop. Just stop right there, Karl. Just stop.
we actually got
Karl.
a little tired. I
Stop.
got a little tired of holding the camera. We probably could have filmed 2 or 3 hours.
Okay, so just
Stop
hang
right
on,
there.
Karl.
Okay.
Karl, I gotta turn the Karl machine off. Did you just catch what he just said, Mark? He filmed an hour
I
of a
can't even
family
say
unit of
anything,
Bigfoots with a thermal camera, and they have Bigfoots, young ones even, climbing the tree.
Well, the first thought was yes. So I always wondered if little ones climb trees. I would assume they do. But then an hour's worth of footage is incredible.
Yep. And
And
there was 6
And
others.
you did that, Karl? You
No,
held
just
the
hang
camera
on.
there?
It gets better. It was recorded by 2 different cameras, 2 different locations.
And so there were 6 people with me. One of the other researchers actually recorded a different angle from mine. So we have 2 different angles. He didn't record quite as much as I did, and it like I said, I could have probably recorded for 2 hours. Now the other.
Do you need
thing we
horses
did-
sometime, Karl? Do you need horses sometime, Karl? Like this fall,
I've never
2 horses.
I've never
And
used horses in the research.
Yes,
and a
it's
camera guy.
recorded. Yes, it's
And a camera
recorded.
guy.
It's recorded.
This has all been verified by Karl. It's on tape. 2 different cameras, 2 different thermal cameras, very clearly. And so go ahead. Now you take the stage. I just had to back the truck up so everybody knows. And also, this is being announced on Untold Radio AM first. Go ahead, Karl.
It is, and it was remarkable. And since there were 6 other people there besides me, I actually handed the camera over to the others who didn't have thermals, or their thermals didn't reach down that far down the hill to view this. So there were 7 witnesses total to this entire event. But I'll be taking that footage and doing a little bit of work to make sure we or stitch the 3 or 4 segments of the over hour long recording and get that put together, and then we'll have to debut it somewhere.
Karl, I suggest the middle of
Yes.
September or later. Myself
Okay.
as a tracker, my 2 tracking
Yep.
horses, and Doug is going to buy me the best thermal camera made, and I'll come down. And I'll bring peanut butter.
You cannot eat peanut butter on the podcast, or they'll start calling it the peanut butter podcast.
You can't hear it. It's not crunchy. It's okay. There's no chewing.
But we can
But
see
you know
it.
what else like peanut butter? Bigfoot. And this is the best peanut butter there is. So I'm your man, tracking man, if you want, Karl.
Okay, so Karl, can you now describe the footage very clearly
Sure.
of the essence of why do we know this is a Bigfoot and with 2 juveniles? Why do we know this?
Well, apart from having seen legs and arms continually, they were on a slope near a road at the bottom of this hill into a canyon, and and they actually, guys, I just have to let you know, I've only been home about 3 hours from this, so I've been like up late every night.
Well, you're obviously pumped with adrenaline too.
Oh,
and
I
all
am.
this.
I absolutely am.
I can only imagine.
So there was the male. There was a taller figure that was moving and doing something. The shorter figure would step out sometimes to the male from behind some brush that was obscuring the view a little bit. And then, but at one point, when another researcher actually did a howl up on the hill, the one that was behind the bush, which I'm assuming was the female, goes over and actually puts the young up onto the side of the tree, and then the young starts climbing up the tree. And I didn't capture that from my angle, but the other researcher that has footage actually captured that angle, and you can actually see the mother doing this and putting the child up. And initially, if I was assuming that the male was about 8 foot, initially the young end up climbing up maybe 30 to 35 feet up in the tree.
Wow.
Later on, the young continue climbing up, which I would estimate around 60 foot mark. And then they started coming slowly back down the tree again later. And like I said, I wish I could have stood there and done it for like 2 hours. Now, with a prolonged sighting like that, we actually had time to formulate an experiment. That experiment was using, because imagine that the person who was filming the second angle actually had an infrared laser in their bag.
Wow.
Which is the same thing, spotting targets on the ground for aerial assaults in the military. And I'll tell you what, on night vision, when he turned that on, it looked like a giant lightsaber. And he actually, we actually waited. We counted to 5. I was watching mostly to see if the Sasquatch would react to the infrared laser being shot at them, and they did not react to it, which is intriguing. It offers up probably more questions than it answers, but
doesn't see infrared.
That's what it appears.
So it's not catching these cameras that are out in the woods with the infrared. It's not catching those.
That's when that's what I'm believing. Yep.
So
has there been any controversy at this point on what they were? Because obviously there's going to be some controversy. There's got to be. Is there any controversy at this point yet? Is anybody like arguing on what it is? Or
oh no. Everyone who watched it could see.
Well, okay. There was somebody. I don't know. It was Greg. Somebody in the comments talked about some posts and blocking. I don't know. I don't think they were referring to anything you're talking about.
Okay.
I think they were referring.
How far away was it? How far away do you think?
Yeah, they were about 220 feet.
220 feet? So
Yes.
less than 100 yards?
Yep.
Wow. And you guys are obviously talking, communicating, and they're not hearing you?
Well, everyone was whispering, thankfully.
Sure.
But we had done before I arrived on scene, there was one woman had done a howl already, and then she did a second one. When she did the second one, the male reacted by stepping behind one of the trees and doing the peek out thing. But it was really the neat thing was every time the male or the female adult would turn and maybe look up the hill towards where we were.
Yep.
The heat signature on the face was far brighter than the rest of the body, which was fairly uniform.
Less hair.
Except for the hands. And it was really interesting because as the young were climbing the tree and they're reaching up, you could actually see a hotter heat signature on the back of the hand than as they went up. And at one point, the young actually shimmied around the backside of the tree, so we couldn't see the heat signatures, but you could still see their hands and feet,
Sure.
on the outer side of the tree as they went up. And
less hair on them, obviously.
And it was like this, not like a bear cub would do, which would be
right. Huh.
So
I got a question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So when you folks are doing the howl, do you believe that the Sasquatch is thinking that might be another Sasquatch doing a howl. So in other words, my problem with doing a howl has always been that you're not going to trick an animal into thinking you're really another animal of that species. But you might get a response, not because they think that you are one, but rather something out there and they're responding to it. Like coyotes will always howl to a train going by. Obviously, they don't think that's a coyote. Do you think a Sasquatch believes that your imitation of a howl is really another Sasquatch? That would be my question.
Well, if you've heard me howl in the wild, which that's why my voice is a little sore right now.
Sure.
Earlier in the week, but yeah, I can stretch it out to 30 seconds. And,
Carl's a big man.
Yeah.
Right. So you believe that that's what they're doing. I call wolves all the time, and I'm really good at it. I can call wolves right in. So obviously they're thinking that I'm another wolf in their territory. Obviously I'm imitating it good enough, I guess.
So why do you think the creatures were around?
They were doing something down there. The male kept stepping on the road, off the road. In the video, it almost looks like he's jumping and dancing. But now, after going down to the site and doing the scientific part of the work, it was obvious he had been stepping on, up onto the road, which is about a 2-3 foot, depending on where you were, jump to get up onto the dirt road area, logging road. But it was. Wow. But you'd see the figures suddenly go, whoop, 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 and I was like, what in the heck are they? I couldn't figure it out until I actually went there and, down there in the daytime and, kind of.
So Carl, all right.
Yeah.
This is obviously very exciting. I haven't seen the footage, so let me just state that I have no idea. I trust Carl, but it's trust and verify. Is there any way these could be bears? There's no way. I mean, the only animal there's no way these are bears. 100%.
100%.
Okay.
Unless bears climb like this, and also lift their young up into a tree.
So you actually saw it lifting.
Yeah, right. It wasn't on my video. You couldn't make that out, but on my friend's video, you can see that.
Right.
Oh, wow.
When you went down there, Carl, did
Yes.
you find, as far as sign goes, everything you could ever hope for in watching a whole family unit play around? And then the sign that was down there had to be astronomical.
There was a lot of disturbance in the pine needles and Arizona. It's got pretty hard soil, and it was on a drainage there. But the pine needles had a lot of disturbance in them. There was a couple of prints that were about 7-inch long prints that I did 3D scan of before I collected the soils underneath those prints. So I have that. So if we want to ever do DNA, eDNA on that, that would.
You grabbed it. Okay, I got to hold on a second here. Greg and Flat Rockland. Guys, pay attention here. I'm curious on what your opinions are on what we're talking about on this new footage. You guys should be all over this. They're talking about bears. Guys, get with the program. Tune in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Oh, anyhow.
Yeah, it was.
But,
they were definitely
okay.
Upright bipedal figures and not
Upright
bears.
bipedal. Do you see any? What's the most amazing detail you've seen in this footage?
It's the capture of the female lifting the child up and onto the tree, and then the child starting to climb up, and that I saw that, and it's just like, I mean, how do you refute that, right? I mean, what else would be doing that in the woods, So
yeah. So is this
upright footage too?
Is this the best thermal footage ever taken, in your opinion?
Well, and I have a FLIR Scout, a monocular, and while it had the distance in order to capture this, of course, they're pretty small. Now the other person had, and I'm not sure the model that he had, but it actually had like 3 times zoom on it. So he has there's a little more detail in his than in mine, but it was, like I said, you can see arms and hands and,
fingers, any fingers?
I think when the young are climbing the tree, you can actually see some fingers, I believe, in his video. So.
How long ago, Karl?
Friday.
Wow.
2 days ago.
So your memory might not be that good. It was a while ago.
By the way, Michael Waldy, if you're listening to me, I don't care if you got to get up at 3 a.m. This is important news.
I got to go at 4.
We don't feel sorry for you.
Yeah, I got to get up and drive at 4. I'm still.
Yeah, we don't care, Michael. That's just too bad. You're getting Bigfoot news here.
It is.
This is breaking news. If we were Fox News, it'd be the big banner. Jeff, do you get a breaking news banner you can throw up?
No, I don't. We should work on that.
Damn it, we got to have one of those.
Obviously, it's in the timber country in northern Arizona.
It is.
Yeah. So a lot of pine.
That's about as general as I can go with that. So
no, that's fine. The biggest elk in the whole country are in northern Arizona.
Vlad, you can come on and interrogate Karl. Go ahead, or just ask questions. We're okay. When can we expect to see some footage? When can I see some footage? And I won't disseminate it, obviously, without. But
you'll share it with me, though.
Oh God. Karl, is there any verdict on that? And when
on the timeline, I don't have a timeline, but I'll be working on the video diligently through the week, and we'll see
okay. Well, if I can be of any help in editing, forensics, anything, please let me know.
Oh, absolutely.
I will. I edit 10 videos a week.
But so. Yeah, I want to get. I want to make sure. When you're holding a camera up for an hour plus. You're getting a little bit of movement, your muscles don't.
Well, that could be all stabilized, which is nice.
Exactly. So I want to make sure that
stabilized.
We really showcase it.
Is it the best thermal footage you've ever seen?
I've never heard of anything of of a family unit of Bigfoot recorded for over an hour.
I haven't either. No, I haven't either.
So,
October is a perfect time for a tracker and 2 horses to go.
See, Mark,
northern Arizona.
This is the real Peterson you're meeting right here.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
This is the real Mark Peterson you're meeting.
Right. And you should be looking into really good thermal cameras for me, Doug.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, just saying. Yeah, good.
I'm looking through the catalog.
You're Mr. Technology. I know that.
I'm looking through the catalog right now.
I'll probably need an
upgrade.
That's amazing, Karl. Seriously, congratulations.
Incredible. Good for you.
That's amazing, Karl. Really, congratulations.
So to just for anybody joining us this damn late, Karl and another gentleman, what's his name?
I can't tell you his name.
You can't tell you. Okay. Another gentleman filmed a family of Bigfoots with thermal, and they have almost an hour of footage total.
2 cameras.
And two cameras, 2 different angles.
That's crazy.
Which, by the way,
20 minutes on his.
When you have 2 cameras, you can triangulate and get the exact height.
Yep.
Like within a quarter inch, probably at. You said you were 200 feet.
Yeah, it was about 220 feet. Yeah,
220 feet. They should be able to get it's called photogrammetry. We can get the exact height, like within probably a quarter inch, Karl.
Okay.
Using photogrammetry, and that's important.
Is that really a word?
Because it's really a word. Because if it's 8 foot, it kind of rules out a lot of things.
Well, when we did recreate it from looking down from the ridge line down to down into the canyon, the stand-ins down below were small compared to the figures that in the footage. So,
how big do you think the biggest one was? Like you say, the male.
I think he was over 8 foot.
Wow.
And you went down to kind of do some preliminary measuring and so on.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
And you know the location, it's been marked, and you can find it again.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
You smelled nothing down there when you went down the next day?
No.
No. Okay.
No, the Arizona
shouldn't be any
Sasquatches
smell.
are fairly not stinky. I don't know if it's just
No, I
a lack
believe
of
that's
humidity
something
or
they
what,
put
but-
out.
No
Yeah.
swamp.
People
No
are
swamp.
asking how big were the tracks. I would imagine there aren't any tracks.
There were no tracks. This is
Oh.
Arizona,
Pine
except
cover.
for 2 baby prints that were down
Yeah,
there.
pine needle duff,
Yeah.
Exactly.
thick.
Yep.
Yeah. Amazing. Congratulations again.
Yeah,
Seriously,
man,
that's
that's
a
awesome.
heck of a find.
Yeah,
I am,
congratulations, Carl.
I still can't wrap my brain around it. I'm telling you.
This is huge news. Spread it. Please tell people to spread this episode and share it so we can get a viral episode, get
I'm
Carl's
excited.
information
I'm excited to see
out.
Hey,
Because this is breaking right here. This is
Carl, when they left,
live.
how did they
I'm sorry?
leave? When they left,
They did
How
not
did they
leave. We left.
you guys left. What? Why?
We were getting tired. It was already like 11:30 p.m. or quarter or 12, and
So let me get this straight. You were watching the Sasquatch for so damn long, you just, what the hell? We'll see him again. And we just
exact.
left. Right. Okay.
No,
Okay.
I didn't. Nobody said that. Everybody just said, it's a family. It's a family enjoying themselves down there. Let's we're done.
I can't believe they didn't know you were there.
Well, they did look up the hills multiple times, but like I said, one of their other researchers, she had howled twice.
Yep.
But only on the first howl she did before I got there.
See, Carl, I have an idea. I have an idea
Yeah.
too, and I don't know if the footage is going to get out in public, but we could offer maybe a private showing at the conference in October in New York, and
is true.
that could be really big.
That would be huge. Yep.
I'll have to talk to the powers that be.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody? I think we have to go. It's only because it's 10:40. I'm
Yeah.
already-
Doesn't somebody have to get up at 3?
I'm a dead man.
Oh, yeah.
I got to get up early too, really early. Anyhow, you heard it here. Thank you, Carl, for coming on and sharing that.
Welcome.
Congratulations. And let's do our wisdom. Just hang tight, everybody.
Yep, we'll be right
Wisdom of
back.
the week.
Don't go anywhere.
It's now time for Untold Radio AM Wisdom of the Week. Being humble is not thinking less of yourself. It is knowing you still have something to learn. True confidence does not need to brag. Stay proud of what you have achieved, but never too proud to listen, apologize, or help others. Good night. We hope to see you all next week. If you like the show tonight, please consider giving us a thumbs up, leaving a nice comment, and most of all, subscribing and hitting the bell so you will be notified when a new episode is dropping. Also, please share this episode. Now, back to Doug and Jeff for our wrap.
And we are back.
Could have been worse, Jeff.
Mark's still eating peanut butter. Damn it!
It could have been a lot worse.
He has broken the rule.
Yep.
The peanut butter rule. He's broken it. I'll probably talk to you tomorrow at some point, Carl,
Sure.
when you get a little rest.
Get
Yep.
to sleep.
Oh,
I'm excited for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
dude.
really excited for you.
Good for you.
and like I said, I probably could
Oh,
film.
How
2
far?
hours.
How far of a drive is it from you?
It's about 2.5 hours.
Oh, it's not far.
Here's what I would suggest. I hate to tell you this, you're going to be pissed. You should get a very staticky construction bag, garbage, the green, the real heavy duty. Get that sucker charged up with as much static as you can and drag that area. You're going to pull up hundreds and hundreds of hairs.
And everything. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Because now you end up with more, you end up with at least 2D evidence. You have the thermal and you have the hair that goes with that thermal. I
Right.
think you're going to need to go back there, Carl, and you're going to hate me.
well,
Where do you come back with all this crap?
What?
That's a good idea. I mean, where do you come up with all this crap?
Crap? It's unverified crap. It's static electricity. All the hairs will stick. You'll collect so many hairs, Carl. You'll be like, what the hell?
Okay, no, I love that idea.
Yeah,
It's a
but you're
great
gonna have
idea.
to. You gotta bring in a wool chamois,
Yeah,
something wool or a sweater, a
Yeah.
nice polypropylene sweater, and you just rub the hell out of it and just keep dragging it, and then carefully pick all of the hairs off with the tweezers. Put them in an envelope. Clean the bag again. Wipe it down with a dry rag, and then charge it again and do it again. And you're just gonna keep sucking up hair.
okay.
It's like it's an amazing technique, and it works really well. And you're going to be going, holy crap! That's why I don't know why I didn't tell you that yesterday. I just I couldn't think.
I had very limited internet up there via Starlink, so
No, I realize, but anyhow, that would be the cat's meow, because now you're going to have at least 2D evidence,
right.
and if you get DNA out of the hair, and the morphology matches, strange, more uncut, no medulla, and then you get DNA from it. You have 3D evidence at that point. That's a big deal.
Well, and like I said, I did 3D scan the 7-inch baby prints that I found and collected that soil from there too. So
Yeah, and I think Carl's already done some of the soil, but I'm looking for hair.
right,
That will just suck right to that bag.
Yeah.
It'll blow your mind away. If they were down there dancing around for an hour, there's going to be a lot of hair down there.
Well, heck, I've got an Australian Shepherd. I'll have to do that in the house and do a little test run.
I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, and I wouldn't. The hair is going to be on top of the duff. Do not rake it. Do not disturb it.
Right.
Do the drag, and do it like a minimum of 5 times. And each time, make sure you bring a good flashlight to grab the hair with the sterilized tweezers. Put them in an envelope. Hopefully, it isn't rained. So I would. Are you off tomorrow? Can you run over there tomorrow?
No, I've got a full week of stuff. It would have to be the following week.
Oh man.
But I see Saga's question there, and that it's 18 years.
Is there any way to get anybody over there to do that? Karl, are you going to be able to sneak away to do it?
Well, I actually have a friend who's still up at the location, but he doesn't have internet, so it'd be hard to get.
Well, see what you can do. I'm telling you, it's a missed opportunity.
Okay.
If you don't do it,
all right. No. It's a great idea. That is a great concept. I love that.
All right. So. Anyhow, good night, everybody. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Jeff.
You guys. Nice meeting you, Karl.
We pulled off another tough one. Thank you, Karl. Share this show if you're listening. Get this information out. And we love you all, and have a good night. We will be back next week.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
I call you up in the middle of the night. Been bothered by dreams, ain't feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just give it some time. By the end of our talk, I'm feeling just